Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome. Tonight it'll be kind of an interesting show. Uh, Tonight we're going to be talking about what is commonly called the alien interview. Sometime after, I believe, the success of Bob Lazar and the alien autopsy video, a documentary was released that alleges to have real footage that was somehow snuck out of Area 51 of an alien being interrogated. Now, I believed that that video and those involved in it were pretty thoroughly debunked some time ago. In fact, 3 or 4 years ago, in my original podcast, I did an episode on this particular documentary. Even interviewed Jim Delatoso, who was one of the participants in the filming of the process to make this documentary. Now, we call this, we have spoken in some detail about how these things tend to come back, and this one's coming back. There's an individual named Jon Stewart who's been investigating this story for quite some time. He's very convinced that no, the footage is indeed real, and has asked me to, come on the show. And quite honestly, I thought we've already done this, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. And he seems very genuine. Here's what I'll say: he seems very genuine in his interest and his pursuit of the truth behind this. But I wonder if he really knows some of the things that I know about the production of this alien interview. So we're going to just get right into it. I've seen him on an awful lot of podcasts. And one thing I will say is that I don't think that he's been challenged very much. He wanted to come here. He knows that we're going to be challenging him. All I ask is for those in the live chat, remember, this person is coming here, volunteering their time, and, let's just be kind. And I told him right before we went to broadcast, regardless of what happens tonight, I'm going to try and give him the benefit of the doubt and be kind to him. And we're going to get right into it. I have a great deal of things to share. I think he's got a lot of stuff to share. And this should be interesting because, to be very honest with you, most people that are making claims about the authenticity of things like this will not come here and will not have a spirited conversation or debate about, the authenticity of what they're pushing. To Mr. Stewart's credit, it seems rare to go to do that, and this is kind of a rare opportunity for me because usually I seek these people out and they won't do it. But in this case, Mr. Stewart wanted to come here and have a conversation about this. I have listened to a bunch of his other interviews, and one of the problems with this situation is that I feel like I did this already, and most of my material, that was 3 or 4 computers ago. So I spent a good number of hours last night up late burning midnight oil trying to gather things that I had before that I think prove that this is fake. Even enlisted the help of one Charlie Weiser, like It Matters, who had looked into the case. She's got some excellent points and a PDF here of all her evidence. We're going to get into it. So let's welcome him in here. Welcome, Mr. Jon Stewart. Good to have you here.
Stephen, thank you for having me. I think we should have disclosure here. Number one, folks, I stalked Stephen for about 2 months because I saw Truth Seekers for the first time like 5 months ago, and I was sitting on the couch and my spleen hurt because Stephen made me laugh so hard, and not laugh like he's a clown of anything like that. Just
what am I here to entertain you? No.
Excuse me?
I'm joking, like Joe Pesci. Yeah.
Right. And you had on Anjali.
Yeah. And she stormed out of here.
With the caves. Yeah.
Yeah. She stormed out of here. So, hey, do me a favor. Promise me. Look, things might get spicy tonight, but you're a man. You could take it, right? I heard were you a pro wrestler, right? Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
My brother-in-law was a pro wrestler, and because of him, I got to meet a bunch of my wrestling heroes growing up.
Okay.
Yeah. So you guys are tough guys. Things get spicy.
Yeah.
All I'm asking is don't run out of here.
Come on. Steven, can I tell you something?
Sure.
Look, promise me one thing. I can't believe I just said bro. promise me one thing. Since 5 years ago, I just want the truth. And to get the truth, and I
They're
still
trying.
don't know what the truth is. We probably will never have the animatronic alien in the FX guy's garage or his trunk, and we're never going to be able to have the alien in formaldehyde or cryogenic storage. So, when you put on 100% proven, I understand that. Folks, I do not feel that no one will, anyone will ever be 100%. And so
Sure. No,
I
no.
am
And
here
by
to
the way,
help Stephen.
I'm not
So,
saying it's 100% debunked, but in my estimation, from the evidence that I've seen, kind of just tilts me to that.
yes,
I'm open that I could be wrong, because there was some things initially about investigating this that I'm certain I was wrong on, or didn't get
yeah.
quite right. But I just think overall, I think we could begin with, like, hey, here's all my evidence that it's fake, and you can try to argue me out of the point. But I think it'd be better to begin with your estimation. What is the best evidence that this is real and not fake?
Being absent. Can you just let me finish my opening statement?
Oh,
So I
sure,
am
sure. I'm
here.
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am here. You people, folks, I hope you believe me. I just want to find the truth. And the one thing I will never argue is what I tell you, what my experiences and journey was, and what people told me, sent me, wrote me, how I vetted it, because I try to be a diligent journalist, vetting some of the sources two or three times, or some of the information two or three levels. I just want to find the truth. I was on the phone with my producer who was helping me make the documentary, because the New York Times will not publish this story, even though I met with them almost a year and a half ago. I just want to find the truth. And he said, John, I don't care if we're up to filming. And the FX guy rolls up to our filming location with the animatronic alien. We don't care, and I don't care. So let me tell you that
Sure.
again. I don't care what the truth is. I just want to help find the truth, and I can't get it by giving the finger to skeptics and running away from people that want to tell me different stories. I'm here, Stephen, to compare notes with you, and if you say something that illuminates me and I can go research, I'm going to. And I don't want to disappoint your fans, because I am not fight. I'm trying to hold in my laughter, because I think you're an awesome host, and you make me laugh in a good,
Oh,
respectful
no,
way.
thanks.
So I
I
just want to get
appreciate
that
that,
across.
and I appreciate your willingness to do this, because usually people in your position don't really want to debate me,
No,
and by the way, we're not having a debate; we're having a conversation. But
thank you.
you know what I
Thank
mean. Like, people don't want to do it. So back to
you.
the what is your best? We'll begin, I guess, with what really convinces you, or is your best evidence that this is indeed a real video an alien or extraterrestrial being interrogated at Area 51.
I think the number one thing is Victor's testimony, his vernacular, the way he answered questions, the way he answered unrehearsed questions on the Art Bell show for the publicity leading up to this documentary. I've met so many people in politics, pro wrestling, the business world, um, sports, entertainment. I've never heard someone speak that intelligently, and I just don't feel, Stephen, that a 23-year-old something screenwriter in 1996 could come up with the vernacular that Victor has was spoken, if this was a script. Now, I don't want you to fall off your chair. Let me finish that statement by telling you the flip side of that. Do you know the person that helped write the entire Victor alien interview, the whole outline script? Again, I'm people are like, this guy is going to debunk himself. Was the writer of the movie Aliens. He was the old man in the interview room with the B-roll that they showed, that they cut to that bad alien, and the guy was
Yeah, yeah, I'm
so
familiar with
so
this. So,
go
so, but don't you think? Yeah, the guy's written science fiction too. So, I would think that would not be a point towards authenticity if he's involved in
okay.
fiction. You know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I didn't know this until about 6 months ago, but Victor was the thing that grabbed me. And the fact that we're supposed to see a gray alien and the being is tan. It doesn't have almond eyes, it's got round eyes. The medics come in short sleeve scrubs and in mass, and we later find out that that is the dress for bio safety level 2, which I don't know if a screenwriter in 1996 would have known that, and to tell Victor in the script to say that. I thought it was the worst hoax production in the history of mankind. Because Stephen, if you and I were hoaxing that, don't you think we'd have those medics come in with biohazard pressurized suits and have a gray alien at least, not a tan one? So as much as people might want to, not agree with me, Victor was the one, and he said something. The bean starts to medically flag. I have a medical checkup in '97, like a week after this documentary, and I asked my old doctor, I'm like, "What is medically flagging?" And he looked at me, he goes, "Oh, did you hear that?" And I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "I haven't heard that since like my time in Korea." He was a medic in the army or a doctor in the army. He goes, "That's like from the '50s and '60s." Just a little nugget. And I walked out of the doctor's office and I said, "Geez, can a 20-something-year-old screenwriter know of a medical, antiquated medical term from the '50s and '60s?" It just, I don't know. It just, my senses made me feel that there was something up with Victor, that he was more than just an actor, a hired actor. And I will finish with, on this point, everyone in the UFO world has told me for 25 years, prove who Victor is, you're going to prove the video. If Victor's not an actor, then UFO skeptics have some explaining to do, because if he's not an actor, then what is this? What, did they pull somebody off the streets? I don't know. So it really started with Victor, and that the bean was not
Well,
tan,
just
was
just
tan,
just to
not
put on
tan.
the record, then you're convinced that the Victor character is a real person and not an actor. The Victor character portrayed in this is a real person, a real government insider, and it's not an actor.
To our knowledge, um, to the best of my research, to the
What
best
if I
of
could?
what
What if I could? What if I could display to you that the Victor character is a 100% construct, an amalgam, an illusion of a real whistleblower, and that there is deceptive tactics used to portray the Victor character as a real person, including a good deal of acting skills. And I can prove to you that they needed acting skills to put this together. What if I could prove that to you? Would that change your mind?
Well, I think it could, yeah. And let me also tell you that the director has told me Victor's name. We have his face. 7 days ago, I paid $700. I got a production still with a man sitting in the chair with the ficus tree. And for the first time in 30 years, I know Victor's face. I know his name. um, if this is an actor, then he has done a well-crafted job of his
Well,
bio, or
that's
what
where we're
what I
gonna.
was told about his bio. So that,
That's where we're gonna
and it's
have
not
some
Bob Dean. It's not Bob
problems
Dean.
because okay, okay, but this is where we're gonna have some problems because or disagreements because I've noticed, I listened to a bunch of your interviews to kind of prepare.
Yeah.
You've made a lot of claims that I would consider, respectfully, I consider a lot of the claims that you make to me, trust me, bro, kind of claims. Like you've said that you somehow were able to locate the two medics that are depicted in the video. Is that correct?
No. Thank you. Thank you for it. You want to start there? That's great. Okay. So,
No, no. I just want to get to the trust me, bro claim.
okay.
So
I
according
do
to
not
you,
know. I do
you
not
have
know one of the medics.
you have
One of the
two of
medics,
them. But I just heard you in an interview say you found both of them. Now we've got one, or is it
no,
two? And you
there's
know the
two
name
medics.
of Victor, but you can't tell us any of these people's names, which is
Well,
problematic for me.
okay, I understand that, but you have to understand that
Okay.
I am also in a production agreement to make the documentary, because the media won't pay attention to this.
So you want to bring
So
everybody the
I have,
truth by signing an NDA where you can't give us the truth until you get to the,
oh, if you
documentary
want to,
deal.
if you, Stephen Cambion, will sign an NDA, I'll send you the whole document from the DI Defense Intelligence Agency, which gives all the names. I have, I have no,
And
and
this
there's
is
about
another
seven
thing.
people in the UFO
You
world that
you
has the
claim
names.
that you have a document from the Defense Intelligence Agency
A
that
retranscribed document. Yes, sir.
what does that mean? Retranscribed.
So my main whistleblower, who had a
Oh,
contact
but
with
just
the
to be clear,
DIA.
first, you have a DIA document or you that has a list of the names of people involved in
Yes,
this
sir. Yes,
alleged
sir.
alien.
And some
So
of the
did you
names have
release
leaked out
that?
on
Did,
accident.
did you release that document?
Well, I've shown Stephen. I can't release all the names because I'm
So
part of a
this is trust me,
documentary.
bro.
But
This
I
is
will,
a trust me, bro.
sir, sir, sir. I will send it
Okay,
right to you.
all right.
Okay,
All
okay.
right.
So can we talk about the medics? And 7 people in the UFO community have this document. That's one of my hallmarks that I'm proud to tell you that I
And
wasn't a
oh,
scumbag
Speaking
Bernie
of
Madoff.
documents,
Oh, nobody's gonna see my information.
you
Bullshit.
you reference completely fake documents in your talking points for why this could be real, including Project Aquarius documents. You know, those had nothing to do with that was a real program, but it had nothing to do with UFOs and aliens.
Well,
And I've got
that's
proof for that.
that is something that has not been that has been contradicted and told to me. When I opened the aperture of my investigation, all of these insiders said, you know, this is part of Project Aquarius, the umbrella program from the government. It was changed from Project Gleam in 1961 when John F. Kennedy and Barry Goldwater started the DIA to usurp the CIA and the FBI for documents. And this project, again, folks, this is just stuff that I was told and that I've researched. I'm not leaning claim to this is gold stamped. I'm sorry. I know that
Okay, but
that's not,
you can understand that from a skeptical perspective when
yeah,
you're referencing documents that are fake to say this is real because these fake documents, it doesn't sit well with me. And you cite sources like Richard Doty, Linda Moulton Howe, Stephen Greer. I don't think that bolsters your credibility about this
okay.
subject.
I have never said that
That's
they
just
were
my
my source.
opinion.
Oh, Stephen, I agree with you. I understand what you're saying. They
Well,
were
no,
not
but you
my
say things
source.
like in this one interview, you said, "Well, Linda Moulton Howe did a story about Ronald Reagan and the number 27." Like it
Correct.
came from Linda Moulton
That
Howe,
is
man. That's
that
not a good,
but I but then I ask military intelligence community members who
But
say,
you never
27.
name your military sources. That's another. Trust me, bro.
Oh,
My
we
military
will
insiders confirmed this.
we
Okay,
will in the
who are they?
documentary. I mean, I am
Okay,
kind of bound, but
all right, all right.
do you know?
I'll back off. I get it. All right,
No, no, you
yeah,
don't have to back off. And Stephen, some of the names on this list have leaked out, which got me in a lot of hot water. I don't know if you heard about that. Like when I did the Richard Dolan show, some of these names leaked out. I'll go over the names that leaked out. Can I go back to the medics? So
yes.
in the DIA, thank you. In the DIA document, it gave a list of men, military people in the room watching this alien interrogation, which was really called a thought projection interview. And 2 of it listed the doctors, people call them medics. One of the names was Dr. Craig McPherson, but it also had scientist with a question mark. So I Googled Dr. Craig McPherson. He is a pulmonologist, cardiologist in Connecticut. I'm like, "Oh my god, he's a real guy." And I know the Bean had a coughing attack. This guy was a pulmonologist in the VA back in '91 when Victor said that this interview supposedly took
All right. So
place.
did you
So
interview him and ask him if he's the guy in the video with the alien?
I did. I called his office and I almost got like a stalking order on me. They're like, "We don't want the doctor does not want to talk to you. The doctor doesn't want to take your call." I even tried to convince Linda, Leslie Keene to make an appointment with this doctor for, Leslie Keene, everyone knows, to get him in the examination room and go, Are you the alien doctor?" Well, here, to try and be a non-grifter, that that guy is not the doctor. I was wrong. But you have to understand
Okay.
when I Googled the name, he came up right away. There was no other Dr. Craig McPherson, and he was a cardiologist, pulmonologist. I just thought it all jived. So, for the first point of this, I was wrong. I got it wrong. Craig McPherson, Dr. Craig McPherson is, uh, 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 according to this list, is the person that Linda Moulton Howe interviewed in 1995. Claimed he was a scientist out at Area 51. Period. I got it wrong. The
Okay.
other doctor, the medic. So again, so
And
grifters
by the
will
way,
admit they're horribly
I'm
wrong.
just gonna
But
play some of this in the background as we talk, if that's okay with you. Parts of this alien
no, not at
interview.
all.
I'm
No.
gonna mute it though, so it'll just be playing while we talk to
Okay.
give people some context. And I'm going to provide links to my audience so that they can watch this in its entirety. Here we see Jeff Broadstreet talking about this guy
Tom
coming to
Coleman.
him. Uh, oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
Tom
You're
Coleman,
right.
the CEO, who I've
Yeah, I
communicated with for 2
apologize.
years. Okay. All
All
right.
right, and also, one of the things that I really wanted to ask you is how much did how long have you said you've been investigating this?
Uh, January 3rd, 2019 was the first time I started making calls on
Wow,
the
so
monitor.
Okay, and did you investigate some of the people that were involved in the creation of this thing and directly involved in this?
I have directly communicated with Jeff Broadstreet, the director. We just sent an email back and forth today for 2.5 years. I have done many emails and Zoom calls with the CEO, Tom Coleman, and it's a weird situation. They have repeatedly for 3 years, Stephen. And again, does this prove anything? No, I know that. But for 3 years, both men have said, I don't know how many more times to tell you, kid. That's my joke. We did not make this video and we did not hire Victor. And I will go into what Jeff Broadstreet, because I really like to get back to the medic. Jeff Broadstreet said, this man called off and I know how Victor contacted Rocket Pictures. I know that whole story because he went to Fox Studios first. And I know the man in the unscripted television department who met with Victor. And Jeff Broadstreet said, Victor called us out of the blue. He showed up in a taxi cab, heard a little, Jeff Broadstreet's word, off grid. He produced a tattered social security card in this bizarre 3-minute video. And Jeff Broadstreet said, I vetted him for 2 weeks to see, who is this guy? This crazy guy with this crazy video. And Tom Coleman and Jeff Broadstreet decided, let's put it on. Let's
Okay, but
put it out
I'm
to the
not talking
world. And,
about I'm not talking
unfortunately,
about
this
the
came out with
Hollywood.
heels. That's
I'm not
sorry.
talking about the Hollywood side. I'm more concerned
Sure.
with the UFO people that were directly involved in this. So we'll go to this, and I want to get your take on this. Uh, these are all people that were directly involved. Wendell Stevens, somewhat indirectly, but he was best friends with Robert Dean and there for some of the filming or attended, but wasn't on screen, and also may have had some involvement with the tape. So we've got Jim
Yes.
Delatoso, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but he's a fake image analyst. His educational credentials are all completely fake. This is well established in the UFO community. And he's a hoax promoter because he promoted the Billy Meyer hoax with Wendell Stevens. Uh, this is not a good indication that this is a credible thing if he's involved. Sean David Morton, who is a convicted fraud felon, he went to federal prison, recently got out after years for defrauding a bunch of older people with his fake superpowers in an investment scam. He's a known hoax promoter. Well, we've got Robert Dean, who I've just titled a UFO profiteer. Robert Dean was a fixture at UFO conventions. If you went to a UFO conventions from 1990 to up into the early 2000s, Robert Dean was likely there and a paid speaker. He never proved any of his original claims, which were proven. His original whole story that he profited from the UFO community for decades was proven to be a hoax, meaning he's a hoax promoter. Now we've got Wendell Stevens have some involvement in this, who is a convicted felon. I don't want to say this word because YouTube doesn't like it. Let's just say he had been convicted for child-related offenses, multiple underage victims. And he's a known UFO hoax promoter, having been one of the biggest promoters, supporters, and profiteers off of the Billy Meyer hoax. Now, do you really think that all of these very shady, less than credible people were directly involved in this situation, but there's no possibility this is a hoax? We've got 4 proven hoax promoters accepted that they were hoax promoters at various times. But you're still going to, kind of cling to like, maybe they got it right this time. That's one of the problems I have. I think you're starting from, I think that you're starting, the starting point is a rotten seed. The seed of this whole thing, all these people involved are very shady. That's my only point. Like, don't you think that maybe we should consider that if known hoax promoters are involved in this, that this could be another hoax? And were you aware of all these things? Were you
I
aware of all these
absolutely am.
things?
And may I speak on
Okay.
about that a little bit? Okay.
Sure. Go ahead.
Sean, I love you, man. John David Morton was involved because he was good friends with the director, Jeff Broadstreet. Now, you could say, oh, he concocted this whole thing. That's how he got involved. Robert Dean and Wendell Stevens, or Robert Dean was involved because he was on the UFO scene. And, I guess when you're producing a video, documentary, you're going to call the known du jour you experts of the day on your topic. Jim Delatoso, I have no idea. I have tried to contact him just to ask him just about his experience on the production. I can't get a hold of him. And Wendell Stevens, believe it or not, again, he was part of the UFO community, factors greatly in this DIA report that Victor and another man named Joseph Yeager, who we found out only 3 weeks ago worked for the State Department in the 50s, and I have a picture of him, that Joseph Yeager and Victor, um, Wendell Stevens helped a little bit of coordination of this and later then accepted the film. This is what was told in the report that Victor and a Joseph Yeager, a State Department official in the 50s and 60s, contacted Wendell Stevens to ask his opinion of what should we do with this tape because it was 5 years later, and so that's how I believe Wendell Stevens got involved, and he was also friends with Bob Dean. So it's a little incestuous little group, and I don't mean that to be crass or negatively. So Sean Morton got involved because he was Jeff Broadstreet's very good friend, and Jeff knew that Sean was going out to Area 51. The rest is, speculation and
I know,
conjecture.
but
And I
given
do
their shady
100%
history,
agree
don't.
that
Oh,
having
come on, these
UFO
guys are shady
hoaxers
as hell.
is not a good
Yeah.
thing. I agree.
You don't think
Totally
that
agree.
colors that colors the discussion though, that these guys have all been involved in fake stories before? And by the way, just to be clear, Mr. Dean annoyed NATO so much with his being at every UFO convention, accusing them of things, that they released this
Right.
statement. A retired
Right.
U.S. Army Sergeant Major Robert Dean was frequently claimed in speeches and internet postings that while stationed at SHAPE in the mid-1960s, he read a highly classified document with the title The Assessment Evaluation of Possible Threat to NATO Forces in Europe, which studied all aspects of existence of UFOs and the potential threat they pose to NATO. For an idea of how widely such claims have circulated, just put the words assessment, UFOs, SHAPE, and NATO into any search engine and see how many thousands of hits you get. We have analyzed these claims in detail, including a photograph alleged to be of the front cover of the assessment, and then concluded that the cover page is a forgery and that SHAPE prepared no report on UFOs during the 1960s. And remember that Robert Dean made a career out of telling this story for decades. So
I understand.
I kind of think Robert Dean is not a trustworthy source of anything.
I didn't say he was,
he's
Stephen. I didn't organize this group, my friend. This
Oh
is
no,
Jeff
I know.
Broadstreet.
We're just talking here about the validity of the to put things in perspective. I just kind of go, what are the chances that all these known hoax promoters that have promoted other things were involved in this, but this one's real? I heard you mention Occam's razor.
How probability that they could have hoaxed this too.
Yeah.
Looking back on just the
And by the way,
shape,
this is
100% agree
I
with you.
want to ask my audience. This is just a first run of me trying to enhance the footage. I
And this was
added a little
blackened by the
zoom.
production company. I don't know if you want to tell your
Yes,
audience this. This is
yes.
not the way it looked
Let's get to the
when
heart
Victor did it.
monitor. We can barely see it in this take, but here's another thing that annoyed the hell out of me that you said, and I'm just going to be
About me?
honest.
I annoyed
Yes,
you?
you.
Oh, okay.
So for those unaware,
Sorry.
there's a little
Sorry.
monitor that's supposed to be a heart monitor
Yes.
here.
I still haven't
And
figured it out in 5
John
years.
said that it can't be a hoax or something like that because
No, no,
nobody can
no.
find
Oh,
that.
wait a minute.
Just
Stephen,
what? No,
Stephen.
but what you said, John, is that you went to all these experts on heart monitors and medical devices, and nobody ever saw it. Nobody ever could identify it.
And
And
then a year and a half
that could be
ago,
because it's a
I'm
prop.
sorry. I'm
What if
talking
it's
over
a
you. I'm sorry.
prop? What if it's a prop that somebody made, and
Stephen,
that's why a medical expert can't identify it?
go back to my interviews about a year ago. 3 special effects people I reached out to. They were shocked. They're like, "We think that video is fake." I don't care. Tell me why you think it's fake. So let me tell you about the monitor. No one knew of it, ever saw it from Space Labs, Hewlett Packard, and 3 PhD fellows who were doing their thesis on the history of physiological monitors. Folks, again, it sounds like I'm debunking the video.
All
Until a
right,
year and a
and
half
just
ago,
to be
I
clear too,
Stephen,
this is the I
until a
have the
year and a half,
link I'm going to share. Go ahead,
okay,
go ahead.
until I have been saying, that's why I think that monitor is real because experts are baffled. Until a year and a half ago, a special effects guy named Alan Levine, I love the guy. We talk once a week. He's like, John, Yeah, the experts don't know what that monitor is because it's not a real monitor. It's called set dressing. Okay,
Yeah,
tell me about set
yeah,
dressing. He's like, John, we do this. We add something little in a hoax, or a production to give it more feel, to give it more, more of a provenance. I said, oh, Jesus, I never even thought of that. He goes, that's why none of the experts, in my opinion, think that it's an actual monitor. He said he thinks that maybe they took two panes of glass. Again, folks, Jon Stewart, I just want to know the truth. They could have taken two panes of glass, stuck an LED light bar in it, and then bounced the light up and down are you seeing my finger? With like a
yeah.
servo.
I could
And
make
and,
that
and I thought
prop.
that was
I can
really
make that
interesting.
prop
Did
in
they?
20. I can make that prop in 20 minutes. I can make one of those in 20 minutes with
She
an
said the same
Arduino
thing. But I just
microcontroller and
asked
a
them, I
few
said,
other bits. Yeah.
in 1996, the latest, the earliest it could have been filmed, the hoax, in my opinion, if it is a hoax. Did they have that kind of bizarre looking greenish white LED light? And then the FX
Sure they
people
did.
go, "Uh,
I think they
I'm not
did.
saying they didn't. And I'm like, now they're saying it was just two panes of glass. I, s- and you have to let me tell this first thing that I ever heard you talk about. They spent $2,400 on a guy that National Geographic's hired for the Bigfoot Patterson Gimlin film to analyze this film. My wife had a heart attack when she saw the check. And he said, well, the FX people are wrong. In so fact, and I sent you the thing, he goes, it's not two panes of glass. It's an actual, it's an actual device bracketed by metal bracking. And the top of the bracket has a fin. There's a little protrusion that somebody would have had to fabricate. Why not just put metal around it? Why are you fabricating a bullet? And it was just saying that proves it. Even he said, he goes, God, if this is in the dark, why am I working so hard to make this look so authentic? This is Bill Mums, hired by National Geographic, who said to me, you're never going to prove this is real or fake. He said, because we don't have the animatronic doll, we don't have the body. He is leaning about 60% that it is a fake,
Okay,
a
but let
fake
me
doll.
stop you for a second. You
But
you also you also claimed that this couldn't be a puppet because if this
you're
was
not
a
listening to
puppet,
my evidence, though. Oh, I feel you're
uh,
not.
yeah, okay. Well, let's get
Okay.
to the. You once
Okay.
claimed that if this was a puppet, it would cost $80,000 to create
I
that.
was wrong. Wrong
Where did you get
again.
that number? You got
I got
because
that. No,
I don't know if you know this, but I
wrong.
in a previous incarnation was would be considered an expert on puppets. Did you know that?
No, I did not know
I've
that
done
about you.
I have
Which is
done
great.
film I have done film and
Okay.
television work with puppets. I've built
Okay.
puppets, I've made puppets, I've filmed puppets. And when I heard that
Stephen,
you
I was
said
wrong.
this
Can I tell you
puppet,
why I was wrong?
okay, so you don't you no
This
longer
goes back
believe
to
that if
the
it was a puppet, it would cost $80,000,
no.
right? Okay.
Again, this is the part of the year and a half ago, the new revelations to Jon Stewart. The FX person said, John, um, yes, yes. In 96, if Tom Coleman went to Warner Brothers, Paramount, a high-end Spielberg-esque prop manufacturer, you know, retail, they probably would have said, yeah, give us $120,000. He said, John, I, in a weekend, could have made that in my garage for around 10 grand.
Yeah, that's what I was
Now
going to
I
say.
went,
And just to
oh,
show you, I
stop the
just want to
presses.
display I just want to show you. I'm muting this because it may have copyrighted music. Or you know what? I don't need to mute it. I'll let it play for a little bit. This
But the
was
upper lip doesn't move. I want you to tell me about the mouth. I don't know if we can zoom in on the mouth. I'm all ears. If you want to tell me how that mouth went up, I could tell you what the FX people told me, but I would love
sure.
Stephen
And here's another
Cambian's
example.
opinion.
And since you're an expert on puppets, can you tell me what
Oh,
these
I'm
two
not an
cost to
expert
make?
on puppets. Don't say that. Don't,
Well, I'm sorry, it just
you
bummed
jerk.
me when you said these are $80,000. By the way,
No, this
this
is what I
is
was
a low
told.
budget. This stuff that I'm showing that I've done.
Yeah.
This was for PBS in Philadelphia, extremely low
Okay.
budget show, and these puppets were created for maybe $150, maybe less. So, and by the way, these puppets are much more advanced than what is depicted in
Okay.
this alien interview.
Can
These
I
have
make one statement
moving
about 50
eyes,
grand?
moving
Yes.
ears.
Okay, true.
moving mouth. These are much more advanced,
Careful,
and they cost $150 to make.
careful.
So
The the,
we got
the
about
douchebag
the
unofficial
$80,000.
the unofficial alien interview guy is going to start stalking you and telling you what a piece of crap you are. You're
Oh, he
irritating me.
already's
I'm with
done
you.
that. He's already
Oh,
done
okay.
that. It's fine. But I just want to display that,
One.
like, to most people,
Okay.
I would be considered an expert in puppets, having worked in film and television and built
Understood.
puppets and special effects.
Okay.
And in my opinion, what is depicted in this video is a puppet. And I have some proof of that. It's a
Okay.
puppet, John. And the fact that you have been investigating this for many years and seem to have missed some of the things that I have found that proves it's a puppet is concerning to me. One of the
I haven't
things that
missed
I found,
anything. Well, you're not
you
letting
have it.
me like kind of going line by line with this, but okay.
All
Can I
right,
tell you about the
here's
80,000?
let
I
me ask your
communicated with
opinion of this. Let's stay on the
sure.
puppet. Do aliens have a shirt sleeve with nothing in it for
I
an
sent you
arm?
that picture. I sent you that picture. Can I tell you all about that?
Sure.
Now, about 4 months ago, remember the douchebag in Europe, London, the unofficial alien interview is telling everybody for 10 years, I've done a meticulous frame by frame analysis of the alien interview, but he doesn't show you that. And he writes me, well, that's because I thought it was a shadow. No, you have to show your audience everything, things that might debunk your video and things that might make your video seem real. So, complete grifter who's selling Tom Coleman copyrighted videos of the alien interview 5 years ago for $14.95. Grifter. Now I see this flap, and I'm like, wow, okay, it's
Hold
fake.
on, I'm gonna
Call
get
up my
it. I'm
producer.
gonna get it in a better way. So
Yeah,
yeah,
do
would
the
you have an
Stephen,
explanation for why
yeah,
they would have an
I
alien with
don't
a
have an
shirt
explanation. I
sleeve?
can just tell you what
It's a
people
shirt
told
sleeve.
me.
I can
Can
tell you
you,
what I think. I
can you
think that the person that made the puppet was told or knew that the arms would not be shown, so that's they didn't bother with
they were
filling it.
shown in the original Victor Blue video.
Then why do we get
Victor's
another shot with a shirt sleeve that's empty? You
well,
know that.
can I just finish? Folks,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
sent Steven the picture of that's my
That's
picture.
an empty
Okay.
shirt sleeve. That's not
So
your
I'm like,
picture.
well,
This is one that I did. But
okay.
yeah,
But
we can
Steven,
get
in
to
the
the ones you
cache that
sent me.
I sent you that picture also. So go to Vincent Gostino and Alan Levine. You are not going to
Empty
believe what I'm
shirt
about to tell
sleeve.
you.
That's an empty shirt sleeve, Jon Stewart.
Steven,
It's an
I'm
empty
not
shirt
saying it's
sleeve.
come on, pal. Will
Why
you
is
let me
the
at least say
alien got
something?
an empty shirt sleeve, though? If it's a
Don't know.
real alien, not a puppet,
I
it wouldn't
don't
have an
know for
empty
sure if
shirt
it's a
sleeve
real
for an
alien,
arm.
buddy. Steven, please. Come on.
Okay. Well, in my
Like
opinion, it's a puppet. How many puppet experts did you ask if it was a puppet? Can I ask you
seven.
that?
Seven.
Seven.
Oh,
And
I've
how
asked
many said it
seven?
was a puppet? How many said it was a
Five.
puppet?
Five.
Five. And you got me, six. So you've got six people telling you it was a puppet, but you still
But
don't believe it was a
you're
puppet?
busting me. I just want to put out the documentary and say, this is the truth. This is who Victor is. This is what these people told me. I don't care what the truth is. Will you please stop taking an aggressive tone like I am saying the thing
I'm
is
not being
real?
aggressive, dude. I don't, I just at some point I don't get it.
Letting me finish saying
We've
things.
got all proven hoaxers. We've got proof positive to me that this is a puppet, but you're still doing all these mental gymnastics to try to make it
I'm not
real.
doing any mental gymnastics. I just want to tell my story so people can
Okay.
say, I can understand why he kept going year after year. So I show that sleeve and I'm telling my producer, I'm like, okay, regardless of who we know Victor is, I think the creature is a fake. The arm is deflated like Kermit the Frog. So I call up Alan Levine and Vincent Gostino, FX people. This is what they told me. This is why I kept going the next week and the next week. Vincent Gostino or Alan Levine goes, "Oh shit, that's worrisome." I'm like, "Yeah, I know it's worrisome that it's a fake alien." He's like, "No, nobody in FX world would have ever done something that stupid or lax because it's a pretty good animatronic." He said, "He was, reptilians flatten their body when
I
they
don't
get
believe this
nervous.
is
I
animatronic.
would
I
never
believe it's
do
a
that." I'm
puppet.
like,
It's pure and simple puppet. There's no
"I'm just telling you
movement
what
that this
people
thing
told
makes.
me."
Okay. All right.
That's all. So I asked a zoologist, is this true that snakes flatten their body when they're nervous or they think they're in danger? Oh, this absolutely
This is what
happens.
I'm
I'm like,
talking about
wait
with
a minute.
mental gymnastics.
That
You're going to
Beck's
go to a
guy is
snake to prove this? Come on, man. It's a shirt
let me
sleeve.
tell you what Alan
It's a
Levine told me.
hoaxers always
I
make
I have
mistakes
to
like
research
this.
everything. I have to
Sure.
research every lead, every statement, or else you behind my back would be like, this guy didn't, you just guessed at things. I never guessed
Well,
at
I
anything.
don't think you really knew the history of these people involved here very well because you've never talked about it. And to not even acknowledge that a bunch of proven hoaxers were involved in this at the start of the conversation is a little bit
But
dishonest to me.
I've been around scam professional wrestlers and car dealers my whole life too. That doesn't mean that they can't also have a valid opinion about something, or they can't also be brought in to tell
Yeah,
you
fair
what
enough.
because a car dealer stole money. Does he not know what a 2020 Lexus is worth? That's all I'm saying. And these people were all part of the UFO community. Sean David Morton was the director's friend. Do what you want with that information. So can I go back to the medic at least, or unless you want to tell you mean okay? So
No, I
Ellen
think I'm
Levine,
fine on the
Steve
medics. You
Levine
you
here,
claim that you
and
found them in
I
other
want you to help
interviews.
me.
Wait. On the medics, you claimed you found both of them in other interviews that I heard. Now you say you only found one and it wasn't the right guy. So I don't think
I
talking
found
about that any
both of
further is
them, Stephen. I found both the doctors. The Craig McPherson I thought was a doctor in Connecticut was not him. The Craig McPherson that the DIA meant was the man who worked at Area 51 that Linda Moulton interviewed in 1995. Can we get that straight? Can we talk about the other medic, the guy on the alien's right, our left? Can we speak about him? Okay. Can't give
sure.
you his name. Obviously, the production. I
So trust me,
find
bro.
that he lived, but I'm going to send you the list,
Okay, all right.
Stephen. And tomorrow you can
I'm
say, "Hey,
listening.
the guy said, okay." Um, he lived in died in California at 2014. I find his widow. Just telling you what was told to me. I find his widow. That's his second wife. Now, remember, Victor says that the medics at S4, which by the way, you and I both agree, this S4 ridiculous hangars that are painted with sand. I haven't had anyone tell me, intelligence people community tell
Well,
me that
that's
that
another
hangar
problem
story
with
is
the
true.
story because this is supposed to be a top secret location off of Area 51 near Papoose Lake. There's nothing there. Papoose Lake is also irradiated.
Right.
Did you know that? They can't put a base
Yes.
there because if they
Right.
do, people would die from
And you have
spending
to
a
take
month
and you have to
there.
carry around dose meters with you if you're ever in
Yeah.
the Papoose Lake area. Yes.
But
I
yet
found that out.
Victor says that's where this was filmed. So,
Yes.
all indications to me so far is this is a hoax. And that's where I'm at. And by the
I
way,
I absolutely
listen,
respect your
I got a
opinion.
20-page document from Charlie Weiser, a very good researcher, that
Well,
just
why is that
pulls
researcher
this thing
quality, but
apart.
Jon Stewart isn't? I mean, why am I
I
such a
because
bad
all of
researcher when
these
everybody
sources are
says
cited
you do one hell of a
sources and
job at
real
least?
sources.
I mean,
Listen.
I have real
I'm trying my
sources
best to
too.
be fair here. Yeah, but you won't name them. You say you have military experts that confirm this or
Because I have a
that, but you
production
can't name
agreement
them.
with a documentary
It's a
production
convenient
crew.
excuse for trust me,
Well,
bro.
but I've showed the list of but we're going to show it in the documentary and trusted people I've showed, and I will send you the whole list if you sign an NDA, and I'll do
All
it
right.
tonight.
This is Victor equals Robert Dean.
Oh no, wait a minute,
Dry
come on, give me credit
dyed
for that.
beer, same head
Now, did
shape,
you show
short
the people?
nose, same
Can you
facial
show?
hair.
Can you show the people in the video that I made on YouTube? It's the wrong tie. Jeff Broadstreet said it's not Bob Dean's house. It's the ficus tree at Rocket Pitcher's office. It's the wrong
Look at
tie. Victor has a
and did you
silver
know? Did you
pinstripe
know
body.
this? Did you know this? Why is Victor wearing gloves in the interview in a
I
suit?
have no
Why would he
idea.
wear
I
gloves
have
in a
no
suit?
idea.
Could it be
I
because
can't
Bob Dean
speculate.
had liver spots on his hands and that would give away that it was Bob Dean? Does that make sense?
I'm going, I will give someone $5,000 if they can conclusively prove to me with the clear photo that I have that that is Bob Dean. Victor has fetal infant, am I saying this correct? Fetal
Fetal infant
alcohol
syndrome?
syndrome. He has got a almost like a missing
Cleft
or
palate or
cleft
something?
type lip.
Okay. Well, the fact
Bob
that
Dean
it
does
was
not have a
Bob
fetal
Dean, the
alcohol
fact that it was
syndrome
Bob
genetic
Dean sitting
upper
in
lip.
that chair, I can prove to you 100% that the person sitting in that chair was not the person answering the questions. I can prove that to you 100%. It was an actor.
Now I
100%.
I asked Jeff Broadstreet about that, and he said that there was the click off and on the weird because they voice altered the recording, and that was just done in production. I thought that was strange
Okay.
too.
Well, what if I told
The
you?
douchebag
What if
in
I
me-
told you this? What if
Okay,
I
go
told you
ahead.
this? What if I told you this? This is where we're going to cut to the chase, John, because listen,
Well, you
I
cut off my whole
respect and admire
investigation.
that you've been investigating this for 5 years, but you didn't find any of the most important information. Here's important information. Did you know what
Seeing Victor's
happens when?
face?
No. Do you know
No.
what happens when you take the voice disguiser off of Victor?
Yes, it sounds a little like Bob Lazar. Wait, what do you mean? I did it. I had a special effects person with me. It
Well,
sounds a
then you
little
should
bit
get
like
your money
Bob
back
Lazar.
because I did it, and we're going to show it to you right now.
It's
And
not
this
Jeff
is going to be
Broadstreet.
one of those.
Well, I disagree
We're
with
going to
that.
be one of
It's
those gotcha moments.
no, it's not.
Listen,
It
yeah,
sounds
yeah,
more
it
like
is
Bob
because
Lazar and
come
Whitley
on.
Strieber than anyone. Jeff Broadstreet's got a very bizarre voice. We have had
Well,
people.
I don't care whose voice. I don't care whose voice.
Well,
Whose voice is
okay.
asking the questions? Can you answer
Jeff
that to me?
Jeff yes, Jeff Broadstreet. Yes.
Jeff Broadstreet is the
director.
person asking Victor the questions. Is that in both
That's
the
correct.
original documentary and in the
the
special
08.
edition?
And in Jeff
Okay,
Broadstreet's
so
car.
it's Jeff Broadstreet is asking the questions. That's what you're
Correct.
saying. Your research
Yes.
has showed you.
Well, that's
And
what he told me in his email.
who is answering the questions as
Victor.
Victor? No,
I'm not going to say Victor's name.
Victor doesn't exist. Victor doesn't exist. Victor is an amalgam. It's an illusion. It's an acted illusion created. And here, I'm going to show you. You did this for 5 years and you didn't find this. And this is amateur hour stuff. No offense, Mr. Stewart, but if you didn't find this in 5 years, when you remove the voice disguiser from the Victor character, what you find out is that the same person
that I didn't do that. No, it's
the same person asking the questions is also answering them.
I saw this on your video.
The same person asking the questions is also answering.
What is your occupation at Area 51?
I won't answer that. I have had reason to be present at Area 51, but I'm not going to clarify whether or not I was there as an employee.
Are you saying you were there as a visitor?
I'm not going to specify why or in what capacity I was there, only that I...
Let's ask the audience. Is that the same voice? Oh, well, it's a little more obvious in the other one.
What do you think you're going to say? The fat wrestler's right? Come on.
Oh, come on, man. You've been investigating this for 5 years, and you didn't find that when you removed the voice disguiser from Victor, the same person,
I
the same more answering the questions is asking the questions. That means this whole thing falls apart. It's a construct.
And on the documentary, we will show the voice analysis. We thought it was actually Bob Lazar or Whitley Strieber.
It's super more obvious in the new one.
I'm sorry.
Here.
Show the evidence of what the evidence shows. We have not done can I say something? We have not done the the line by line like somebody from the CIA would do. I'm saying when we do.
Are you saying I'm CIA because I found this and you ignore this? You can listen in this 2008 special edition. It's completely and totally more obvious. And by the way, I know what voice disguiser they used the second time. That's how I was able to remove it. Now let's listen to this, and you tell me
people
again
have removed it.
That the same person asking the questions is also answering the questions as Victor. This would prove that this is an act. This is an act. It is a construct, an illusion being created. It's stagecraft, Mr. Stewart. Let's listen.
You're the one that also said Bob Dean was the same person in the video.
Let's see if we can listen here.
And it was
let's see if we can listen.
You were wrong, Stephen.
Okay, I was wrong on the tie. I was wrong on the tie. But by the way, somebody.
No, you said
when I was wrong on the tie. Yeah, we went back. Go try to find Bob Dean's all his UFO lectures on YouTube. They've all melted off. 3 or 4 years ago, when I made that original statement, it wasn't the tie from the alien interview. It was a tie that he wore at a UFO convention during one of his lectures that matched very closely. We've got him in a bunch of striped ties, very similar, in the same coat. Let's forget about who is sitting pretending to be Victor.
Really
let's go for this.
Victor, here we are.
I've removed the voice disguiser.
I never expected
Don't yell
to
at
hear myself called Victor again when I find myself in disguise in front of a camera again.
It's now been 11 years since we last conducted that interview.
Yes, the Art Bell interview you arranged for me.
In May 1997.
As the interview progressed, I began to get a different sense, and that was that.
Oh, we'll just pass that. You're going to tell me with a straight face that this is not the same person asking and answering the questions?
Agreement.
Just listen for a minute.
It's not similar,
ongoing
but no, I do not feel that that is the exact. And that is indicting Jeff Broadstreet.
Part of the
And after dealing with Jeff for 3 years, there's no way.
Yeah, the guy who made the most money from this whole thing, he has no.
He didn't make shit. He hasn't made.
Come on,
Tom Coleman made all of it. Jeff hasn't made hardly anything
Art Bell
from it.
Coast to Coast to promote the video at the time.
Which was a live interview, and I have made it abundantly clear that I was not to be put in a position of revealing my whereabouts in a live situation.
Again, Victor, with all due respect, you knew that the Art Bell show was live.
You say that now, that's not how I remember. But in any case, it's a...
By the way, did you know that
That's a back and forth right on camera.
If you look at the audio file, there's clear evidence of copying and pasting, which would had to have taken place if somebody asked the questions and then answered them and put that in post. There's clear evidence and indication of copying and pasting of the lines between the interviewer and the person. Well, you know, what I'm telling you is, I don't know. I have a very good ear. I'm a musician. I'm listening to this. And by the way, it's more obvious in the second go round. But we know it is the very same voice asking the questions in both. But in my opinion, in both these examples, once you remove the voice disguiser, it is the very same person asking and answering the question. That's evidence of a hoax. When you add to that we have all these other known hoax promoters involved in this, the fact that, this whole thing falls apart. This whole thing falls apart. It's a construct, an illusion.
You're talking to a guy that still says
a guy interviewing himself is a hoax. He's interviewing himself. He's interviewing himself. It's a hoax, Mr. Stewart. He's interviewing himself. How are you going to sit there?
That's your opinion. And until we sit down, until somebody's, Stephen, relax. You're hollering at me. Until we sit down and that's all right. I love you, bro. Till we sit down and see, and I'm not technical. I'm the worst technical. Until we see both, voice, the synchronicities match up, and I have an expert telling me that it's both voices. I have to reserve my judgment. Does it sound similar? Yes. It also sounds similar to Bob Lazar and a little bit like Whitley Strieber, to be honest with you. So let's just agree to disagree, and let's just wait.
Sounds like exactly who it is.
I completely respect your opinion, Stephen. Let's wait till someone else, not your reviewers or UFO people, can pay for this and find out the truth. That's all I'm asking people.
Let's wait till they pay for your documentary, right? Come on, John.
No, but wait a minute.
I just want to take a moment to thank 16th Doc, who just became a YouTube member. And I got one other piece of business, then we can move on. Complizer with the kind of generous 551. So somebody named something like Bam Bam Bigelow once did drop kick a UFO in some desert.
No, but Bam Bam Bigelow kicked the shit out of me at the UIC Pavilion.
Judy Horney.
I wrestled him before.
Thank you for your kindness and generosity and support. So,
Stephen, are you saying
let's listen to a few more minutes? Can we listen to this for a few minutes so that everybody can get a good sampling of it, and then we'll see, is this the same? Am I correct in that the same person asking the questions is also answering them in this video?
Thing of the past.
Well, in any event, you contacted us for this interview.
This situation has not been of my choosing.
If I came to you and requested, as you say, in fact, I find that characterization insulting. I did not request to give you information. I offered you information. Yes, I did demand payment. Certainly, I demanded it. I would not have been given it had I not demanded it. You are the businessmen. You are the filmmakers, the video makers, the documentarians. You and that Rocket Man, you have made whatever profits have been made over the last decade off of the... I can't think of a reason I would have to be giving you information was not for the money. Certainly, any illusions I had that my information might actually spur the government have been sadly mistaken. It's been 11 years since I brought out that tape. What follow-up has there been? Who among these so-called ufologists, these self-proclaimed investigators, show me one of them that's demanded information about S4 under the Freedom of Information Act. Show me one of them that has seriously attempted to confirm or deny the existence of the alien interview program. All they care about is talking among themselves and making videotapes, making documentaries.
Now, certainly, you said that the voice sounds similar. You got to remember that he's acting as somebody else, so his cadence is slightly different, sure, but the timbre of the voice, the words he speaks. I even took specific words from the interviewer and from Victor and lined them up, and it sounds exact. The words sound exact when overlaid on top of one another. And Spooky's asking, will you address the counter evidence in the film? There was some experts that said it was a puppet, right? A special effects expert in the film said it was a puppet. I think that's what Spooky
couple of
means.
experts said it's his when it's made. I forget what the vernacular was. Again, I'm not saying that this is proof. I'm saying this is what propelled me to take one more step and one more step. One of the special effects people said, yeah, I don't think it's real, but there's some movements that being makes that are very, he said, concerning, or like, I don't know how they did that. So it is what it is. I'm, just giving you the reasons why I continue the footsteps along this path, which you haven't let me
but you
finish.
you won't concede that that's the same person asking and answering the questions. You want to look into that more? Are you going to include a part of that in your documentary? I think that's important.
And can I say something? Why are
Sure.
you cutting down me going to Hollywood for money instead of people like your viewers and people like myself? I don't want anyone
I didn't put you down for any
the
of that.
community to pay me. I don't want anyone to buy my book. I'm not promoting.
Well, John, in
anything.
fairness, you just said you could buy the thing and then you'll get the truth.
This Jon Stewart's a good guy. He's not taking our money. Let Hollywood pay for this shit. Don't let. I don't want to be a grifter. Come on, give me $9.99. Fuck that. Let Hollywood do this. Let Hollywood pay for the voice analyzer and prove us right or wrong or whatever.
I got something else for you that I think is very.
Go ahead.
I think there's a very important point, and hoaxers always make mistakes, and Charlie Weiser makes a very good. This is from your own blog post, and Wendell Stevens and Robert Dean were involved in placing the smuggled film in a safe location in Arizona. This would mean that Robert Dean is lying in the documentary when he says, I don't know where the hell you got this. I don't know who you got it from. And frankly, I don't want to know who you got it from. It does put Dean at the center of the drama rather than merely someone whose opinion was sought for the documentary. So did he lie in the documentary? And isn't that evidence of hoaxery, fraudery?
Great question. Great question, by the way. Robert Dean was given this film after the documentary was made, from what I was told. The DIA report, the Defense Intelligence Agency report, which was called an unauthorized viewing, just telling you what it said, not laying that it's 100%. And I know the guy that sent it to me. He's a mid-70s philanthropist in a metropolitan city. If he hoaxes people, if he hoaxes bust-out wrestlers and retired car dealers, God bless him. The report said that eventually Bob Dean and Wendell Stevens became in possession of this film. It was stuck in a bank vault in Paradise Valley, Arizona. I did an FBI FOIA request, and it didn't say that it didn't happen. That said, the FBI wrote me back and said that they could not give me any information on the bank raid because I am not Bob Dean or his rightful heir or legal guardian.
That's
at least I tried, bro. At least I tried. At least I FOIA'd FBI more than I can say than any other UFO grifters out there that just tell you, "Oh yeah, I did this." Hey, no, I tried. Sorry, I've done.
Yeah, Yeah, I get it, but I don't know. I'm left with there's too much here that points to hoax,
I
right?
respect that, and I'm not just
It's
saying that.
just
I respect your opinion.
and by
I
the way,
really
to be
do.
clear, I kind of didn't mean to blow you off about coming here, but like I feel like I've already done this all
Yeah,
before, and
I
then
get it.
in the last couple of days, I got to gather all this stuff back up again. And by the
I
way, I had to
apologize
do
for
the
that.
voice
Sorry.
disguiser removal,
Yeah.
and I got to tell you, last night I'm removing that voice disguise, recutting this video, and I'm going, he's not even going to care that I did. You know,
Yeah,
he's
I
not
do
going to
care. I do,
hear that this
Stephen.
is the same voice. It's the same
I'm an
voice, John.
expert on
I'm a
in-road safety
musician.
equipment.
I've got studio gear. Like it's the same voice
Don't you
asking
agree
and
with that,
answering
though?
the
I mean,
questions.
okay. I do care. I am not blowing it off. I respect your
And
opinion.
that is
Trust my
evidence
voice
of
is clear.
deception.
I dealt
That
with
is
your boss
evidence
for
of
3 years.
deception.
I don't think he did that. So
That is evidence of deception, that this is a
on
construct.
me?
It's not
Oh, okay.
real. No, by the creators of this.
Right.
You know, and by the way, you know,
Our ears
I
are not
truly think,
scientific proof. I'm just saying.
okay,
I mean,
all
I'm
right.
just
Well,
saying.
musicians' ears tend to be better than
And I'm
most
going to send you
people's.
the. I'm going to
I'm
send
telling
you
you,
the out. I'm going to send you the document.
in my opinion, and in the opinion of many
Right.
people I've played this for, the
Yes.
very same person is asking and answering the questions, which would indicate deception and an
Okay,
illusion
I understand.
being cast in front of our very eyes here. It's a construct. They get somebody to sit in a chair and act out the script. They overdub the voice, put the voice disguiser on. It doesn't matter if it's Bob Dean sitting there or who's sitting there. This Victor is not a real person. And no offense, Mr. Stewart, but you've titled your documentary Hunting Victor. And I believe that what you're hunting is a ghost, an illusion created by clever hoaxers to fool people and make money. And the unfortunate part is I thought that this was already well established and accepted, that this is what happened and the voice thing. And you're right, I'm not the first one to do that or realize that. When I did see that for the first time, somebody else did it. I think there's a video on YouTube maybe called The Real Voice of Victor or something like that. And
A lot of good people did
I
that.
flew off my chair and then I recreated that. I thought this can't be. It can't be this simple to bust this thing is fake. So and by the way, it's just pitch shifting. I can show you right now on an audio editor. I
understand.
They just use a pitch shifter to pitch down the voice.
Somebody even said the dot megahertz or what level to do the pitch shifting at.
Yeah,
that's even was said in the video.
About 79%. You have to raise the pitch by 20% to get it back to a more realistic, portrayal of what the voice actually is.
Okay.
So
can we
I guess
maybe move on a little bit? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
So I can get your opinion. I don't know many UFO researchers that ask the skeptic's opinion. Can I ask you a question? Can I tell you about the medic? Can I finish the one doctor? So I get this list, and the one doctor, I was wrong. He's actually a doctor that worked at Area 51, Dr. Craig McPherson. He died. The other doctor died in 2014. Remember, Victor says that the medics at Area 51 S4 are hired more for their ability to keep secrets than their medical aptitude. That just stuck in my brain. I call this lady who had no idea who I was, 80 years old. And I said, this is very uncomfortable for me to ask you, but I know you're the widow of Dr. and he has a nickname.
Yeah, and I got a problem with this story too, but finish the story. Because no offense, Mr. Stewart, but I'm not calling you a liar, but you take an absence of evidence as evidence. So essentially you find this guy's wife, he's passed away. She says, oh yeah, he never talked about his work. So you take that as meaning he must have been the guy that worked on the aliens. That's why he didn't talk to his family about what he did in the military.
Again, you're misrepresenting me. You're misrepresenting me, Stephen.
Okay.
She said, and I told her, I'm a documentarian. It's come across my desk. I'm going to give her a fake short name. Kim, is there any possibility that I use his nickname, worked with extraterrestrials or whatnot? Silence. She didn't hang up on me. And she said, well, that's pretty interesting because there was a big bone of contention between my husband and myself. He never, ever talked about his time in the U.S. Army Medical Corps. He never gave stories when all of our other friends in Vietnam and Korea gave funny stories about boot camp or a drill instructor. I said, Kim, can I send you the 2-minute video? She's like, absolutely. She gave me your email. I sent her the email. I gave her about 10 minutes. I called her back and she said, "That is my husband to the alien's right, our left." And she's like, "That's his bridge of his nose. That's his eyes." He said, "If you go to a Honeymooners episode called Funny Money, we always joked that the police officer collecting the donation in the beginning of or the middle of the TV series, he looks exactly like my husband." I obviously did that, and it looks like the guy. For someone to tell me that a wife of 20 plus years can't recognize her husband's nose and eyes, I mean,
Yeah, but this is kind of a
that
this
is
is
just
another
a
problem that I
ad
have,
hoc ad
because
hominem argument.
I heard you tell this
I
story
can't
a
hear
couple
you.
of
Now I
times.
can hear you.
I've heard you tell this
Pardon?
story a couple of times. This is the first time I
Okay.
heard this part of the story. Before it
Oh,
was
I'm
he
sorry.
never talked about what he did in the
His
military.
time in the U.S. No, his
But
time in
she
the
didn't
U.S. Army
say
Medical
that
Corps.
that's him in the video before.
And she's
I've got an interview I can pull up that you
yeah.
didn't say that before. Now you're saying that. So is the narrative evolving here, or is the
No, wait.
evidence changing, or?
It's hard to hear. What did you hear me say?
I just heard you in a previous interview just say that she said he never talked about what he did at his job. You
No,
didn't
he
mention
didn't.
that
Oh,
she
no, no,
said
no.
that's him in the
My
video.
verbiage has been my husband never talked about his time in the U.S. Army Medical Corps or the Army Medical Corps. I'm sorry. I have never
But
said
now you're
job.
saying
He
that she
said
said that's
my
him in the
husband.
video.
Well, I've got 20 podcasts that I've said the same thing.
Okay, all right. Well, then
And she
maybe I'm
said,
mistaken then.
You are. I'm sorry, but you are. I always said, she said,
That's
and
fine.
that stunned me because the DIA report says he is an Army doctor with the U.S. Army Medical Corps. Stephen, I didn't even know what the hell the U.S. Army Medical Corps was. And she said, "John, a light," she said, quote, I'll never forget this, "a light bulb has gone off over my head, and you're kind of solving a secret between me and my husband. And I really appreciate you contacting me. Here is my daughter's name and phone number, who lives in the suburbs of Chicago, south suburbs of Chicago. If you ever want to contact her and ask her more about my husband, I'm sure she will be more than happy to talk to you. I will call her when we hang up and tell her that you called, and I thank you for calling." I, where do I go with that? You know, your viewers, what do you, an 80-year-old woman craft tell me something that Victor said. Again, I know you think Victor's a hoax. Tell me something of her husband's occupation or the unit that's on the Defense Intelligence Report that was given to me by a 75-year-old philanthropist in a metropolitan city.
By the
Something
way,
ain't
did you
right here,
get that
bro.
video
Something's not.
authenticated?
Something
Did
ain't
you
right.
get that? Did you get that document that you used for proof authenticated as a real government document?
No, and it was
So then
yeah.
it could be anything. You
I know
can't
it
use a
could, but
document
that's
that's
why I'm
not
telling the story.
authenticated.
But that's why I'm
I
telling
would
the
suggest
story.
John from the Black Vault to decide if that's a real government document or not. He's
I
an
got this from
expert.
John, Stephen, it was specifically said to me, you are not going to receive a top secret document, that it was retyped so it could be sent so no one gets in trouble. That was specifically sent to me. It was the
So
going over
anybody could give
things
out
on the
top
list.
secret documents as long as you retype them? No, that would be completely illegal. You don't know how intelligence works. You
Well,
can't just retype a document and then give it out. It doesn't absolve you from
you
the
can,
National Records
you
Act.
can,
And
I disagree with that. I feel that you can, summarize something. Yes.
so you've got a
Who knows
document
if
that
this
you
is
can't
top
prove
secret?
is real. You got a document that you can't prove is real that you keep citing as evidence that this is real. This is a whole house of cards built on quicksand here. This is not looking good. You know, we've got all these hoaxers involved. We can prove that the same person asking the questions is answering the questions. I believe I can prove that in a court of law to any judge or jury's satisfaction. That's my personal belief. Take from that what you will. We've got all these hoaxers involved in this. You're using unproven, unverified, unauthenticated documents as proof. You're citing Linda Moulton Howe somehow as proof.
I'm signing
in
Linda
parts
Moulton
of
Howe's
this. Stephen
documentary
Greer,
that showed me
like
27.
this is you can't use the grift squad as proof that this isn't a grift.
Oh, come
You know?
on. Will you be fair to me? I
I'm
simply
trying to
said,
be John. You know what? We're having a
all
good
I said
conversation.
with Linda
This is
Moulton
going better
Howe is
than
I
I
saw
thought.
27
I haven't told you
on
to
a
get the hell out of
documentary.
here once yet. I
Steven,
haven't yelled
but you don't
once
even
on
want to
this.
know what 27 is. All I said is I saw her documentary had me see the number 27, which made me say there was 27 on the bottom of the film. Let me research what 27 is. Linda Moulton Howe didn't help me.
And it
Stephen
just so
Greer
happened
doesn't
that
want
they
to help
used
me.
DNI, right? This is labeled DNI right after Bob Lazar says that the Department of Naval
They're
Intelligence is
absolutely.
who's
And
got the
somebody made that
aliens in
point
the
too.
spaceships.
That's right. That
You know,
forget DNI.
I like you, John, but
Yes.
I think that your standards of evidence are really low, and that you're kind of like in a situation. You keep saying I want to get to the truth, but then you
No,
ignore
I want to get to
all
my
the evidence that this is fake, but you promote evidence that's probably fake too, that you say makes this real. It's
rather
a
than calling
circular
it evidence,
argument to me.
I like to call it like my journey of the stories that happen, and
Well,
does it
that's
trip
fair, I guess.
anybody's alarm bells? An 80-year-old woman, and if I've used evidence at times, I'm looking at your viewers and audience. I'm sorry, but I think that what I really mean is this journey, the stories of my journey that made me say, how does an 80-year-old woman know? And how does she identify him? And why did she say he was secretive? That's the same thing Victor said. So I'm just saying it doesn't make sense. So I take another step. I've contacted two of the military people on the list, and one of them was actually going to, invite me to Virginia to play golf until I sent him the list with his name on it. And he stopped emailing me. He was actually one of the directors of the DIA at one point. Another thing, very quickly, because I'm sure we don't have a lot of time, that when the DIA report said this theft occurred around.
But here's the
3
thing: you
days
keep
after this
calling it a
film was-
DIA report. You can't prove it's a
Okay,
DIA report.
you're right. You're right.
Some
Thank you.
document that some guy gave
A
you.
document
That's
that
what
was
you have
sent
to
to me
say.
that claims to
Yeah.
be from a DIA internal memo. Thank you. Thank you. Seriously.
Okay, that's fair.
Said that yes, that this interview was April 22nd, 1991. The film was duplicated 3 days later. So right around late April, I find out that there was an abrupt change of guard out at with the DIA. And I've asked military people, why does a director get replaced? And they're like, cancer, or he did something, wrong that got him in trouble, or most likely. And I thought that was a little coincidental too, that right at this time of this theft, that the DIA, who runs the facility, not the DNI, that the change of guard happened. I don't know if that's coincidental. It's just a little, just a little flag that pops up. Can I also say I think Victor was mistaken when he said that 27 he said it was a jerry-rigged cataloging system. I thought that was a lie in 97, and I proved that it's a lie at the very least. What I found out 27 was, and 27 is the security designation called Yankee White, and that is given to someone who has contact with the President of the United States. And if we are to believe that this film is real and the security coding on the bottom is real, then no one who does not have the Yankee White clearance can view this film or any documents with 27. Do you know that one of the men on the list of the documents sent to me that was supposedly the DIA memo? Thank you. His name was Rear Admiral Ned Schaefer, and he was the security liaison, the intelligence liaison to Colin Powell. And we feel that 27 was added because he was in the room, because we have him in the Oval Office with Colin Powell as intelligence briefing liaison. And that's how we feel 27 was on the bottom of the film, signifying Yankee White, and the document telling me, yes, there was someone definitely that dealt with George Bush. I am simply asking why I took another step. How in the hell could a 24-year-old ding-a-ling script writer, if this was a hoax in 96, not saying impossible, how would this kid know 27 was Yankee White security designation? Really,
Yeah,
at
but
the end of the
here's the
internet.
thing: that 27 could have mean anything. It could have meant the 27th tape.
Totally understand that.
It could mean anything. It could just be a
Okay.
coincidence. It's like you're putting,
If you're going to take it,
you're connecting dots.
okay,
You're
Jeff,
connecting dots.
it is a little suspect. I don't know what to say. I
Yeah,
respect you. I like you. You and I were having beers, you would have looked
You
at me
think
as
this
my
is-
friend and go, that is a little weird.
I'll buy you some beers myself. Look, if you think this is tough, though, you should come and talk about your Lockheed Martin whistleblower story. I got some problems with that too, bro. I got big problems with that story.
Wait a minute. Wait, Steve.
You don't believe the
Come on.
story? You went on huge podcasts telling it like it was a true story.
The
Because
reason
some
why I
guy
came
emailed you. Some guy
because the
emailed
emails
you.
were stolen. He did. And the
Yeah, by
emails
the
are
way,
all over
where's
the
the proof
internet.
of that?
Guy's
Where's the
email
proof of
address.
that? I'm an IT guy.
Steven,
Give me your phone.
the only
I'll
reason
prove
why
what
I came
happened to
forward
those
because I
emails.
thought my family might be in jeopardy, my
Oh, come
safety.
on. That's a plot
Because
device.
my
That's a plot device. You did it to protect yourself? But come on. Some weird guy
in a
emails you and
light
tells you
way,
the
in a
story.
light way,
You're jumping on
yes.
podcasts, telling the
One
story like it's completely
podcast,
real.
and another person asked me to come on, and then I asked to be unvetted because I saw his viewers were asking questions that I thought that the UFO community should have a logical and a clear view of what's going on. I think the Lockheed story is 30% true. That Lockheed did have a recovery team for its experimental craft. Period. The only reason I came forward to my friend Clayton Morris on Redacted was that my emails 2 days later were swiped off my phone on 4 different platforms. And the Deerfield police said, that is really suspicious. And Apple told me 2 years ago when it happened the first time, said, we've never seen this before. I researched Lockheed Martin. I get the shit scared out of me because I see all these crazy things on the internet about Lockheed Martin. I panicked. I got paranoid. I apologize. And I went on Redacted to simply help maybe take the chance to say, I'm not on the story. Please leave me alone if somebody is trying to fuck with me. That's it. I don't believe the Lockheed story, a firefight, a shootout. I don't believe it. But I went on because I was paranoid. And if I'm at fault for being paranoid about my wife and kids and myself,
No, I
I'm
guess I
sorry.
don't blame you. You know, if
I'm
you really
sorry,
thought you were
Stephen.
in danger
That is
somehow.
the truth. And I kept saying, this is crazy. This is crazy. I have sent all of the emails of this guy with my questions, his replies on the internet. I'll send you those too, and with his email address. And I found him on LinkedIn as an employee of Lockheed Martin, the same name, Michael L. He said he was Asian. He's Asian on his LinkedIn. I'm not saying he's real. I'm just saying that's why I got paranoid and came forward. And I am never speaking about it again on any podcast. The story is over. I did my thing. I'm sorry if people
So you think
don't
that
like
was a
that I
fake
was
story, or do
paranoid.
you think that
I
was?
apologize if I
Now you think it
offended
was a fake
people.
story? Now you think
Yes,
that story was fake?
I don't know
Well,
if
see,
it was
this is
fake, but
that's
I wasn't going to take the chance of my family being any kind of being compromised if it wasn't fake or if somebody was leaking this to me, using me as a useful idiot, whatever. I was simply not going to take the chance. That's why I came on Redacted. I didn't plug my book. And I
by the
simply
way,
said 50 times, this story is crazy.
just for the sake
Sorry,
of clarity,
trying to be honest.
I was running way behind prepping for this show.
Yeah.
All the documents that I'm sharing, including the one from Charlie Weiser and the proof that the Project Aquarius is not what it was portrayed as, also the document from NATO SHAPE disputing all of Robert Dean's claims. All of that will be linked in the description of the video shortly
I don't
after
claim Robert
broadcast.
Dean has
I
any
apologize.
valid information about this, just to let you know.
Well, here's also that you cited Project Aquarius as sort of proof of this thing being real, and here's the document.
Sort of proof of what I was told by multiple people.
Yeah, but this
I don't have
is
I don't
not
have
what
the
it
money.
is.
Oh,
The Project
God bless you,
Aquarius
man.
is not what you thought it was. It has
Well, there
nothing
was
to
a
do with
Project
the aliens
Aquarius
and
that
UFOs.
NASA had, and there was a Project Aquarius for something else.
And
I'm just telling
none of
you.
them have anything to do with aliens and UFOs, and none of
But
them
Project
prove that this
Aquarius,
interview is a real alien. It's more smoke and mirrors. If you're citing a document and you haven't thoroughly researched the document or the case,
I'm not
this is why I
citing
have a
any
problem.
document.
You're
I
like,
said it,
but
Stephen.
in
I
interviews you
simply said in
discuss
my
Project
podcast. No,
Aquarius,
I
saying
don't.
this
I
proves
said
this
I have
is
been.
real. It
No,
doesn't prove
no,
anything because
sir.
you're wrong on the
I have not
document. You're
cited
wrong
a
on the whole
document
thing.
of Aquarius. I said
Okay. All
people have
right.
told
All right.
me, Stephen.
Oh, now
people
it's getting spicy.
No, it's not. People have told me, I said, that this interview program was under the umbrella of Project Aquarius. I never cited a document. I just want
Yeah,
to get
but
that
Project
clear.
Aquarius doesn't have
Please don't
anything to do with
bury me
aliens
that
and
bad.
UFOs, though. So you can't, it's like one of these
I
things is not
understand.
like the other.
Sir, I
This
understand.
is
I
the
get it.
problem that I have. So let me ask you, when are you
Yes.
going to put this documentary in. And by the way, I'm not asking you for any money, but if you would like me to be like a skeptical voice in the documentary, I volunteer. I'll do it for
Well,
you.
if you will let me finish a statement, I can tell you something, and I want your
sure.
I want your what do you call that? Your acknowledgement, or tell me to go screw myself. You don't want to be involved. Okay, here it is. Let me please let me finish this. It's going to take a minute. The entire documentary, where we will tell you what we learned about Victor. We're going to put the voice analyzer evidence that has not been done yet. We are going to recreate the alien to see if we can get it with 2024 technology to look exactly like that. All the witnesses and whatnot. That is called Inside Area 51. I hate the name. That, I just had the meeting today, a Zoom call. That is on top of a desk of a television executive, an unscripted vision of a TV network right now. Number two, the making or the journey of hunting Victor, all of the crazy things that I dealt with in Hollywood and reporters in Congress, because I did take my report to Congress. That is called The Bird Dog. And that is a $4,000 budget, talking head, me and a couple of other people, just describing something like this in a formal setting, like a warehouse or something theatrical, the entire journey, which I think is going to be much more interesting and funnier and alluring, because you can't believe what some newspaper people did to me and how I had to jump through hoops with Hollywood and the lies, and somebody Stephen, listen to me. Somebody coming to me 2 years ago in the middle of this investigation saying, I heard you like Bigfoot. You know, I have a 60-second video of a little Bigfoot running up to the Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot. So those kind of stories that are not included. That's called The Bird Dog.
Yeah, by the way, I don't think it's real, but I love Bigfoot. I have Bigfoot on my cabin door. I just love it. It's,
you know, you and I are cabin guys, so I love that about you. We're cabin people.
You're always welcome.
And the last one is, and let me tell you about the $50 I sent you. The last one is, somebody approached my agent and said, "Do you?" Honest to God, he said, "Do you have any stories of just a regular Joe and something crazy happens to him?" He's like, "I got this, my agent. I mean, I've got my guy, Jon Stewart. He's investigating this crazy alien interview. You know, it's all over the place." And the guy said, "John, can you write down?" And this is where I have to ask your permission. If you don't want to be it, you don't want me to leave you in it, that's fine. I had to write down a chronology of everything that happened to me. And I said in the bottom of the notes that there's the guy named Stephen Cambion. He's got sunglasses. He's the skeptic, like the Warriors movie where that black DJ lady would be. I said this guy would be perfect in this movie to like be the skeptic and narrate kind of in a skeptical way what's going on. And so I'm asking you if you want me to at least put your name or your likeness or who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get you some headshots and everything.
$50. I did send you $50.
Oh, and by the way,
so your family could get a pot roast dinner.
I have to address that, because I got some nasty email because of that, where somebody said, "Oh, this guy's trying to get on your show, and now he gave you $50, so then you're going to book him." So anybody that gives you $50. So by the way, I'm going to give that $50 to a charity, because I don't want people to think, "Oh, just give Steven $50 and he'll book you on the show," or whatever.
That was not my intention, though. I mean,
I know, but it's an attack vector. I like to remove.
I'm a sensitive person. Okay,
I like to
give it to an animal shelter or
vectors.
something. I love dogs.
Yeah, that's what that's exactly what I'm going to do. Actually,
I love it.
Exactly what I had in mind.
Steven, are you going to put it in my name, of course?
Yeah, well, if you want me to, sure, I'll put it in
for Johnson.
Yeah. I just
I'm joking.
Anybody that's going to attack me for something that's stupid, I'm going to remove that attack vector and see. So what's next then? Are you going to kind of?
I'm gone.
Don't you think that you have to? Don't you think you have to like reevaluate some of the things that you have?
We're going to do that on the video. We're going to do that on the documentary, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
I've never said what the conclusion is. Yeah, I never told
enough.
About the conclusion. Yes, thank you.
I think you might want to rethink the. I think you might want to rethink.
We will. Maybe we will.
You want to rethink the title,
show the entire journey.
Isn't it Hunting Victor? And Victor may be a ghost that you're chasing, an amalgam.
Right.
But you say his face. You've got a picture of him and everything.
Yes. Nerd. Can I describe it? Nerd alert. who thinks he's cool. The guy at the bar with the members only jacket, like, hey, ladies, what's your sign? I mean, he has got a fetal alcohol syndrome, left, so to speak, small, almost minuscule upper lip. It is definitely not Bob Dean. And if he wore, this is what one of my friends said, because and his beard is, there is no beard here. It is here, and he's got apparently a scruff here, and a light mustache.
But
And
you
he's
have
got
his
this
face
dorky
and
look.
his.
And my
You're saying
friend
you have
said,
his.
if you, but
You
I
have
can't
his
hear you. I'm
face
sorry.
and his. You have his
My friend
face
said, if
and
you
his
put
name.
yes, we have his name. My friend
Are you
said,
going to
if you
reveal
put a
that in the
1980s,
documentary?
oh my God, yes. And we're going to,
Okay.
the names, yes. And the names that are redacted, the doctor, we're going to try to re-interview the woman, the wife of
Are
the
you going to be
doctor.
able to prove that this guy actually worked at Area 51? Are you going to be able to prove that?
I don't think we can. How? I
This guy
can't.
claiming to be Victor, you can't prove that he worked at Area 51?
Well, we feel that he's
That'll
got,
blow the whole story to shit.
you,
If you can't verify through background
absolutely.
investigation.
Do you know that when you
that
do FOIA requests on an individual, they won't give you any information? So,
well, sure they will.
but
It
if you have
depends on
any
how you go
ideas where
about
I
it.
could, yeah, I understand that but you can't get his DD 214 unless you're next of kin. The DD 214 is what places you with the
Well, you can
military.
if you have.
But
You
he
can if you
didn't
have
work for the
good.
military.
You can
So,
if you have good
was,
sources, maybe.
okay, so wait, can I finish my story? My friend said with
Sure.
Victor what he looks like. He said if you put a 1980s baseball truck driver cap on Victor's head, he would look like he was like a driver in a low-level NASCAR race on ESPN in 1987. Like, and in the Chevron Chevrolet, it's Victor. And I mean, just like Southern, he wasn't Southern though, but like just like dorky, just dorky nerd, a tool, as we call it in America, right? The guy that thinks he's cool. And I don't know why, but that upper lip just bespokes that he has been to bars with a members only jacket and a 20-year-old Corvette trying to impress women. And I don't mean to be disrespectful or glib, but that is what this picture looks like.
By the way, I have a
What you want?
1984 Corvette, but I don't use it to impress women. It's been sitting pretty much broken down in my driveway.
I'm just telling you,
for
the man
years.
in the picture, the man in the chair is nerd alert big time. So
We want to thank Copley Zaird, who's a member. John might want to team up with Third Phase to get UFO money. Oh, that's not a kind thing.
oh, stop. Now,
Steve
can you tell your
Nicholson with
viewers,
$5 says
Steven,
Victor is
can you tell
dead.
your
I
viewers-
told him to be nice. I
don't-
told him to be
don't use
nice. They've been
anybody that makes
nice.
you click, okay?
Nobody's
I don't
calling
ask
you
any money.
nobody's calling you a scammer through this whole live chat. My audience is very well respectful tonight. I'm impressed myself. I thought they were going to rip you to shreds. Thank you, Steve Nicholson, with a kind of generous $5 says Victor is dead, dude. Nicholas Martin with a kind of generous
He is
$10 said,
Victor is dead.
I for one believe him. Well, that's
the name
very,
I
very
have is dead. Is that fair enough? Is
the
that fair
name of the
enough?
person.
The name of the person that Jeff Broadstreet said came to my office is dead. How about that? Have we at least leave
Just to be
name?
clear, one more time, who is the person in the video asking the questions?
Jeff
Who is
Broadstreet,
Jeff
the
Broadstreet?
director
Okay,
of Rocket
the director
Pictures.
of the film. So he's the one who gives you the picture and says this is his name.
No, he
And
did not.
Oh, I'm
He
asking.
No, he did not give me the picture. I'm not going to tell you until the documentary how I got it. I'm not going to tell you.
Trust me, bro. Okay.
But wait a minute. Wait a minute. But it's the picture of a guy in the chair with the ficus tree. What is his last name? Vinny. He's in the UK. We signed an NDA. I showed him the picture. He's like, yeah, that's the guy. He's sitting in a chair with the ficus. That's from the video. I won't tell you how I got
but
it.
if you don't have samples of that guy's voice, then I think that the theory that Broadstreet is both answering and asking the questions.
Well, Broadstreet's going to be in the documentary. So we're going to find out, folks.
Why don't you let me interview him? I'll interrogate that son of a bitch.
Oh my God!
I would totally do it. I would interrogate that dude. I would.
Well, you got to be nice to him.
I'll be nice, but I'm going to hit him with all the evidence, and I'll come full guns blazing. I'll work on that audio for a month.
You can't be that douchebag on Reddit. You can't roll your eyes when he tells you what his answer.
You can't even see my eyes. I'll be rolling them behind my shades. It's okay. And by the way,
everyone's heard Stephen Cambion has agreed to be on the Hunting Victor documentary.
I'll do it.
Awesome.
Right? And
awesome.
I will do it. And just so everybody's
I
aware,
love you, bro. I really do. Yeah, you're awesome.
Yeah. So we got to take a moment.
You should say thank you, John. I'm complimenting
No,
you.
thank you. I do appreciate.
You're good at what you do. You entertain me with and I don't say that disrespectfully. I love
I
that
thought this
you
was
put
going to
these
go much
grifters
worse.
on the trail. I love it. I love
Nick,
what you're
we
doing.
want to thank all of you kind of generous benefactors
Praise the cash, praise the cash.
helping us to praise the cash.
Who is that kid? Who is
Yeah,
that kid in the clown outfit?
that's my son who was he's very
Love it.
he wants to help with the show, and that's one way. And by the
Oh,
way,
that's
he's
nice.
a real
You're a good
businessman.
dad.
I asked him to make new bumpers, and he said, "Well, we have to negotiate." And I'm like, "Negotiate? What
Well,
are you talking about? Where'd you learn that word?" He's like,
he's
"When
pushing
you
the
do
dad.
business," he said, "when you do business deals, Dad, you have to negotiate." And I go,
Oh,
"Okay." So I
that's
got to
awesome.
figure out how to pay him, and but he's great. He helps out around here, and
That's
he helps me
awesome. Good for
clean
you.
the studio, and he helps me set things up. He's very
Yeah. You
interested.
seem like a nice father, and I appreciate that because that's important. And I'm not saying that to get on your good side. You do seem like
I see
a good
Stormcrow says,
father.
"Don't thank the grifter." Oh no, be nice.
Me, the grifter? But where's the grift?
Oh,
Where's the money?
well, you haven't made it yet. You've been spending a lot of money trying to
But
get to
I'm
the
not
bottom
getting
of
it
this.
from people. I'm getting
Yeah.
it from Hollywood, and you already have the channels. That's my interpretation of it. I am never
Okay,
going
yeah.
to somebody $9.99. Buy my book. The fuck out of here. So
So
you can go on
let
through
me ask you
dinner,
a
call me a
serious
grifter. No.
let me ask you a
Not
serious
happening.
question.
I don't need the
Do
money.
you truly believe that what is depicted in this is really a real alien being interrogated?
I
Because
am
if you do, John, it's kind of a two-part question. You also have to believe that in order to communicate with this alien, they needed people with superpowers to come in and telepathically communicate with this thing. So, in order to believe this, first of all, you have to believe that Jeff Broadstreet isn't answering and asking the questions. You have to believe that all the grifters, proven hoax promoters that were involved in this time they got a real piece of evidence, where all the other times all their evidence was completely fake or fake stories. You also have to believe that the government is employing people with superpowers to communicate with these aliens. To me, it's a big stretch. You got to go way out on a limb to believe this. What do you believe then? And why, I guess? I mean, I'm just curious.
not, again, it is not what I believe. I simply want to finish the conclusion of this so I can conclusively, with the entire UFO community, sit down metaphorically and say, here it all is on paper, on video. What do we think, folks? And that is my best. Because if I tell you that I believe it's true, my wife would jump in the podcast room and say, I believe it's 100% true. And if I told you I believed it was fake, there's investigators that say, wait a minute, Jon Stewart has been like a bulldog asking this guy, that guy, knocking on doors. How could he do that if he thinks it's fake? I'm trying to find the truth, uncovering every stone, accepting every story, vetting every story, and doing the best I can. And I'm telling people that bear with me. We are all going to see this to a logical conclusion, and we can all make up our own minds. I think that's
All
the
right,
best answer.
one more point that's very important.
Yes, sir.
In the original documentary, they cite Richard Doty as a source for what the government, where the government houses the aliens and where they do these
And
interrogations.
I didn't know that in the original alien interview
They
document.
cite the Falcon from the aviary,
Oh,
and I
okay.
believe that's Richard Doty, who is a known, proven, admitted government disinformation agent. Isn't it a little dangerous using him to confirm
Sir,
things
sir.
about this thing's
Do
authenticity?
you know what Rick Doty said about the video?
He
I
said
have
it's
no
real.
idea. No,
He said
well,
it's real.
me, when I first got him on Facebook, my wife contacted him. He said, I don't know much about the video. Yes. He said, yes, I believe that it's real. That is where Doty stopped. And the only thing with Doty, not the only thing, because that is derogatory towards him. What Doty has offered our investigation is providing a FOIA document showing that the government in 1963, when the DIA took over the alleged alien interview program, they built the facility S2 Alpha at and around Papoose Lake. It's really actually northwest of Area 51. Doty's got the FOIA document that shows there was a facility called S2 Alpha, and the American Pathology Institute was also a building of that was also built there. So Doty's like, John, I just want to let you know there is no S4 with the hangars. I don't know if there's hangars, but it's not S4. S4 is the sub-level building underneath S2 Alpha. And here is the document that says S2 Alpha. Don't make an ass out of yourself and tell everybody S4, S4, S4. The alien, this whole thing is under the S2 Alpha building. Here is the FOIA document from the government from 1962. That's Rick Doty's involvement. And he's the only guy with a DD-214 that places him at Papoose Lake. So if folks don't want me to at least ask him anything, then you're an idiot.
No, listen, I
Not you,
interviewed
but-
him. I interviewed him one time, and I got a lot of shit for it. But here's why:
I thought it was a
interviewed
good
him.
interview. Thought it was a good interview.
I think it's one of the best. People cite it
Thank
all
you.
over
I do too.
in blogs.
I do too.
The reason that I interviewed him is because I came across some information that Richard Doty's uncle was involved in Blue Book and was in the Air Force.
And his father was involved in intelligence. Do you know that?
Then I came across information that his father was also involved in intelligence and specifically in a early UFO program for the United States government. And I was kind of blown away. And the whole reason I wanted to interview him is because I wanted to dig into that. Like, why is so many people in your family involved in aliens and UFOs for the United States government?
Why is everybody in the Jack Stewart family involved in the car business? It's just.
And I also wanted to ask him if he regretted what he did to Benowitz, because I never heard anybody put him on the carpet.
Stephen, be careful here.
Yeah.
Stephen, don't accuse a man of manslaughter when you've not talked to the family. You've never talked to a psychiatrist. We don't see the coroner reports.
No, I just wanted to ask him if he regretted what happened to Benowitz. And in that interview, he said, "Well, yeah, if I had it to do over again, because I think that's a whole tragedy in and of itself."
It is a tragedy. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jason Parker says you're doing a Mythbuster movie, right?
I am.
Yeah. Do you want to take some questions?
I'm not doing a Mythbuster.
Do you mind taking some questions from the live chat? All right, questions for John in the live chat.
Why
Put them
would
in
I
all
not want to
capital
take
letters.
questions? You act like I'm this guy that's trying to ram on this.
I think you did very well tonight, considering I did.
Here.
And by the way, I didn't hit you with everything I have on this because I wasn't able to find some of the other stuff. But
will you send me everything you have so I can see it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice grade.
I'll dig it all back out and we'll try to go through it all. So questions for John, put them in all capital letters. And well, I appreciate John coming here and trying to clear this up.
Your viewers, I'm not snowing them. Your viewers are the funniest fucking people on the internet. I mean,
we have a great crowd here. We really do.
Oh my God, they are the best. It's better than going to see Napoleon for $14.99. Your viewers are the funniest freaking. There's one specific guy, and I don't remember his name, and it seems like you and him are in sync. I mean, this guy should write for a comedy sitcom. It's enjoyable watching your show. It really is, and it's informative.
Yeah, we have a great.
And I like when you had John Warner on too. I love John Warner. John's a good guy.
He's awesome.
He lives my best life.
He's first of all, he's a billionaire. So I never knew a billionaire. I wanted to talk to him just for that. But he somehow, I don't even think I gave him my address. He sent my kids all this astronaut ice cream and stuff for Christmas.
He's awesome.
He's an awesome guy. Awesome. He's into some wacky ass. He is into wacky stuff. But me and him always have good conversation. He's coming back in a few weeks.
You call me and I mean, it's just a class act. I love it.
And by the way, I'm doing this.
Hello, John. I'm trying. Hi, buddy.
I'm trying to do this Bob Lazar, the rest of the story documentary. It's going to be.
What is your opinion on Bob Lazar? Can you tell me?
Complete and total fraud. We've been over this 100 Ways to Sunday here. Okay, Bob, he lied about his education. He lied about being a real scientist. He lied about the FBI raid on his business and had nothing to do with Element 115.
And Jeremy Corbell didn't show about that raid. He didn't talk about Bob's past, which bothered me about Jeremy Corbell. I want to.
Well, we're gonna do a piece that gives everybody all the rest of the information that people promoting Bob and selling his story always leave out. All the shadiness. His wife was a convicted murderer. He could never have gotten clearance to go anywhere near Area 51 with a wife that was a convicted murderer with ties to organized crime.
Did you ever ask Doty? Steve, did you ever think of asking Doty or somebody like him?
Doty thought that. Wait. He thought he was real.
Can someone listen to me? I am just presenting this. This is me being an investigator. Can somebody like Edward Teller, let's just say the story is real. Can someone, I am asking this, I don't know the answer. Can someone fast track or bypass some of the security if they think they could help out the program at Percus Lake. Do you think that's possible? I don't know.
I don't
What's the
think that's
way to
possible,
get in
but
there, Mike?
just based on a few people that I've talked to, one of which was in charge of doing background checks and security for Area
Okay.
51, who told me
Okay.
no. And also, Bob claimed that he got his clearance in like a week. At that time, it would have taken 6 to 8 months for anybody to get clearance to step foot on Area 51 from zero to, okay, you're allowed on the base.
And did you
6
ask about
months.
fast tracking or something?
I
Because that's the only way.
specifically asked about that, and they said
You're a
there's
good
not
man.
really a workaround. You have to do, but
And
this is
it's
one source, and I don't know if that's accurate. I like to have 3 sources telling me the same thing, and I haven't gotten 3 yet. These,
I know you're not a psychiatrist. Why do you think he came forward and is still? I mean, I know
well,
eventually he made
the
money, but
interesting
what?
part is that
I am asking you. This is you and I
he
having
uh,
a
he had
club
huge
soda.
financial problems at the time.
Oh,
And
okay.
instantly he comes out with the story, and just a few months after he comes out with the story, he's selling a videotape in the back of science magazines, explaining his experience
Right.
for $29. And by the way, I was a 14-year-old child, and I ordered that. My dad had to help me with a check. I once sent Bob Lazar a check for $29.95. So I've had that. Bob Lazar has been in my life since
Wait, did you tell you
1989.
this guy's seen aliens?
Yeah,
Again,
but my dad was an aircraft. He was an aircraft mechanic during
So
Vietnam,
was my
and he was
dad.
oh really? He was a helicopter jockey. He was a huge
Awesome.
fan of aviation, and he liked like rocket planes and space planes and
Yeah.
high tech
Yeah.
stuff. So he
Yeah.
was kind of like he watched it with me, the tape. When I got it, we watched it. I'm like, this guy says he worked at Area 51, Dad, and he worked. They have alien spaceships there. And my dad sat there and watched it, and he's looking over at me while we're watching it. And the thing ends, and my dad goes, "What did you think?" I go, "I think he's telling the truth." And my dad goes, "This guy's full of shit." And he just gets up and leaves. Like he had he had no appreciation for it. But
Beginning of the Jon Stewart bio, Stephen Canby having his dad write the check for a Bob Lazar video. I can see it in my head.
We're going to try to make this documentary, and one of the people that are going to be in that is John Warner, because he believes Bob. So I'm going to have him play the believer side and interview him and talk about the evidence that we gathered. Yeah. And interestingly, Michael Schratt and John Warner live in the same state. So in one weekend, I could get both of those guys in it, and those will be sort of the talking heads. And I've got friends. We're all gathering. There's so much information. We're all gathering it
Jon
together.
Stewart wants to be involved in that. Can I be invited? Do I have to be discluded? I'm fun.
Yeah, I think Complicaire. Would John fight? Would John fight? $2 super chat. This is a question. Would John fight the Undertaker for UFO disclosure?
Yeah, for about 500,000. Sure, I'll fight anyone.
Lord Abyss wants to know, where did the aliens go to the bathroom? That's
what people have told me. What people have told me and have told the community is that they have such a system where they excrete as much moisture out of the air in any food that they eat, and that there's not much waste. Another person said that they skim the fluid off their bodies, which is a contaminant, a waste. Other people have said they stunk, abductees. That's what it was. That's the lore. That's not something I believe in.
Yeah, and I did hear you in an interview give a lot of details about this alien, including it only had one sex chromosome, but it was male. Like, where are you getting all this stuff from? Just
that was in the memo. I'm trying to how you want me to word it. That was in the alleged DIA. Right, the alleged DIA retyped memo that was sent to me. Am I doing good? And it said that this was a haploid, and I looked that up, and that means it has one sexual chromosome, and that it was a non-placenta being. This type of being, what I was told, reproduces in vitro. It is not even considered an animal. It's part, biologic, part machine, for lack of a better word.
All right, great question from Spooky.
And you'll see it. I'll send it to you tonight, but you got to sign the NDA.
John, I'll sign the NDA, sure. What is about this story that draws you in as something to contribute to the UFO mythology? Is it the story or the money?
You mean the whole UFO? I've always been interested in it since I was in the kid. I used to watch a ton of documentaries in the 70s, and that's when the UFO documentaries started, at least in my mind. I have always been an open mind. I'm a Pisces. I'm the youngest born. I've always, we've had a lot of sightings in Upper Michigan where our cottages of lights, not craft and beans attacking us. And so my whole family's always been open to it. So yeah, so that's what's always drove me. It drove me. And I think, Stephen, maybe this will make sense to you. The Victor investigation. I'm an alpha male. I get on. I'm a hunter. When I get on something, I'm going to ride it until I see and get to the logical conclusion. No matter no matter what the consequences are. So, part of this, yes, is my hyperactivity, my alpha male, drive to say I got to finish it, and I want to show everybody what we found. It's going to do. I'm only going to do is show everybody what we found, and you make up your mind. And I've said that for 5 years. So
That's
please,
fair.
respect
Welcome
that.
to the show.
John, great interview.
Welcome to the
Skinny
show.
Bob,
Great
a
interview.
real
Your
video,
thoughts on Skinny Bob.
put through a program called Shutter Stock to make it look like it is fake, so it can be a straw man argument. It can be knocked down because
Yeah, they
there
definitely
was
used a filter. They used a well-known filter, and somebody matched
Shutter.
it.
It's called Shutter
Yeah,
Stock to make it look like they
grainy.
ran the grainy.
Yeah.
The team of FX people said Shutterstock. Who knows if it's real? They couldn't explain why the little black redacted is over the timestamp. Can I tell people something, Stephen? So many people have told me when you see a video, the next Jeremy Corbell video that comes out, I don't know how he's leaking top secret footage without being prosecuted. Whatever. Look for a timestamp. When you see a timestamp, date and then the VCR coding, but it's called stamp. It started in the 1930s. That should give you a clue that it might come from the government because the government did use that in their video documentation. Victor footage has
Well,
got it. I'm not saying that it's real.
I did.
The
I did
other
a show on
UFO
that.
where it's like
I
this
think
has got it.
if it's a hoax, it's
Skinny
a
Bob has
great
got
hoax.
it.
Yeah,
So
but
for that.
the use of stock footage made me go, oh, thank you, Nicholas Martin, for a kind and generous $2. Paul Shields is asking, when will the documentary be released?
Well, like I said, the Hunting Victor documentary, where we get into recreating the alien with Steven about the voice, showing how we voice matched or didn't match, that is on the desk right now. It's called a pitch deck. That is sitting on the desk of the president of a network, president of the unscripted television department, I should say, not the president. And
Oh,
he
good.
is trying to figure out how to maneuver this into his programming. He loves it. He thinks it's incredibly interesting. He likes what we found, and he thinks that's compelling. Nobody's saying it's real. Nobody's saying it's fake, and he's really interested. And keep your fingers crossed. And if not, then we have to go to the next guy. But I started the Bird Dog, the Talking Head documentary. We had a second unit film B-roll in Area 51 last weekend. The director of that is Fred Uter, Uther. He's a director, producer in Chicago. He's done about 10 documentaries. He's a great guy. And that you're going to not want to miss because that, is going to be like an ESPN 30 for 30 documentary where it's humor. It might make you cry and it might shock you. What you're going to hear about the New York Times in a report and another reporter, you won't believe what you are going to hear about an agent for the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, what he texted me, the threatening text that he was told to send me. You're going to be shocked. The people, and I'm going to end here, are going to be pissed off at the media. That's my opinion. You're not even going to worry about the being. You're going to be pissed off at the media of how they have ignored, and Congress, because I've taken this to 7 congressmen, just the investigation, the retranscribed alleged DIA internal memo to Congress.
Spooky says, you didn't answer my question. What is it specifically about this story that you feel is important for the public?
That the government is using billions and trillions, great question, that the government is using billions and trillions of dollars to make little reproduction alien craft and study alien microscopic tissue. Instead of taking the billions and helping a single mother with daycare, helping veterans not be homeless, trying to fight the suicide crisis of our veterans, remodernizing the VA system, little things like that, modernizing our roads, pay down our debt, little things like that. And I've said this, Stephen, forget this interview, forget my documentary, when the underserved and the underprivileged, I'm one of them, finally wake up that the government has maybe spent $5 to $6 trillion on this crazy program to rebuild alien craft and not give us the technology? I think the underprivileged and the underserved are going to have a bloodless revolution in this country and demand some answers that rightly should be asked. Because this is a travesty of the money that has been spent, whether you believe this phenomenon or not. It is an absolute travesty. And when Donald Rumsfeld tells you that $3 trillion cannot be accounted for in the
It's
Pentagon,
It's
that
7
should
trillion.
be a red flag that maybe Jon Stewart is right. They're spending a lot of this money on this, in my opinion, ridiculous reverse engineering of biologic material and metal. That what has it done for our country? Nothing. Nothing.
Walter
And I'm
Bosni's here
Jon
and
Stewart. I'm
asks,
running for president.
do you know a man named Holden who claims
That's the
to
guy.
be with NASIC?
That's the guy. That's the guy who yelled at me. He ghosted me, and I said, and I talked to an intermediary. I said, either he texts me to tell me I'm okay and he's not dead. I want to text today, or I swear to God, I am going to fly. I'm going to take Senator Mark Kirk, my friend. I'm going to fly to the Pentagon, and I'm going to find, or write Pat, and I'm going to find if this guy is alive and if this guy is real, which I know he's real. And about an hour later, Stephen, he sends me a text. You can tell somebody crafted it and tell him you sent that fucker from Chicago this text message. And it was, you are no longer to contact me. You are to cease and desist all communication with me. You are to erase this text message in any of our electronic correspondence. You are on a special Pentagon watch list for your FOIA request, the nature of your FOIA request, and your overseas emails. You are not to contact me again, and I am not participating in your documentary, and I do not have the authority of the National Air and Space Center, a command, to participate in your documentary. And below that was this bizarre, like when you see corporate communication, any unauthorized reproduction of this, DOD, Department of Defense, V17225, you can be held liable for 20 years in jail or a 10,000. I mean, fucking bizarre. Scared the shit out of me.
Well, listen, according to Walter Bosley, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a great researcher. He says Holden was making the rounds, working valet and others. I think he means others in the
Just
UFO
telling you what
community.
happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did
And
tell me
Spooky
something.
with another question. Has John ever worked for the military or any connected contractor?
No. I did odd jobs in high school.
You're a car salesman. You're a scum. That just proves you're a scumbag, right?
Right. I'm a used car salesman. You know, my family owned a car dealership, and I'm retired at 56.
Oh,
and my business,
my uncle owns a car dealership. I'm just kidding.
My
I'm
family business of
People
40
need cars.
years. Yes, thank you. My family business of 40 years in the same location closed when my dad went into hospice with a Better Business Bureau rating of A+. We were very honorable business people. And for UFO community members to say that I'm bullshit because I sold cars in college. I mean,
I've heard that criticism of you. Yeah, and I don't agree with it, but people say he's a scumbag.
Yes.
He sold used cars. They're all scumbags.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
That's
listen,
I think we had community when I'm done. I'm sorry.
I think we had a good conversation, and
I think we did too.
I'll say this: you're welcome to come back if
you.
If you want. We'll try to maybe we'll do a part 2 if I dig some more stuff.
Oh my God!
And,
can we survive it?
Well, I don't know. I'm impressed that you didn't go running out of here. I have a lot more respect for you right now than I did before today.
Thank you.
Because now I know.
Man. Thank you.
Like one of the problems I have with the people that promote and profit from these stories is that usually they won't engage with somebody like me because it's not in their best interest to go through this kind of stuff, you know?
Yes.
So, yeah. Walter Bosey says, John, the UFO community is overpopulated with a-holes.
Thank you. Oh, thank you for saying that. That means a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you, Walter. Thank you.
So
I'm out of here.
You don't have any idea when
this is done, this documentary, folks, goodbye. Bye.
No, I think you're a lifer. I think you're a lifer. You're going to get a piece of those UFO dollars, those sweet UFO dollars. Then you're going to be on to some new fucking
Steven,
bullshit
can you see in 3 years I'm on like an infomercial? It's the real aliens on Mars. Buy it now, 49. God, please.
But wait, there's more.
Don't predict that I'm going to be that way, pal. Please. I'd rather write TV shows and
that says, Mr. Stewart, do you believe that grifters and debunkers have similarities for finding out the truth? That's,
Well,
I
yeah,
mean, that's
because
kind
they
of a big
make the truth
philosophical
happen.
question.
And yeah, they make the truth happen, and you can't invent the truth. You have to just present the evidence. That is the difference amongst that. I'm not selling anything, and that I won't promote my book, and I don't ask you to like or click on my. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Yes,
What did you write a book
grifters
about? You
try
could
to
plug the
prove their
book.
point. Pardon?
What is your book? What is your book?
My book came out in November. It's called. No, I'm not doing it. You're not doing this to me. I'm
No,
not gonna
now I want
promote
to
it.
read it. Now I want to read it. I'll
No,
find
no,
it.
no,
I'll
no.
find it.
This
And
is a
then I'm going to
non-grifter
review it
moment.
here.
This is a
I'm
non.
going to yell and scream. I'll fucking
My
mark
book is called
passages.
Magdalena. It came out in November, self-published. You can buy it on Amazon. You're going to love this, Stephen. All I did was simply take the 7 accounts of people who claim to have information on the second Roswell crash. All I did was compile it because it took me 3 days to find all these. When I saw an episode of UFO Hunters, I compiled it in a little book. My wife calls it a pamphlet. It's not that big. I give a little opinion, a 1-paragraph opinion at the end. There's no grifting. And I just put in all of the accounts, and that's all I do. It's called Magdalena. Yes, there it is.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but we did
Believe
like a
me, I
huge.
was not
We
going
did
to
a
start putting my
huge.
opinion on this thing.
We did a huge. We did a huge story. I tried to get all of the Roswell experts. We had Walter Bosley, Don Schmidt, Tom
Cool.
Carey, even Stanton Friedman gave me an interview about Roswell before he died. We included that. It's like a whole thing revisiting Roswell. So
But Stephen, you
is,
didn't say 2 days ago what you believe about Roswell. Why are you? I mean,
I'm still
do
on
you
the
think all
fence
these older
because
guys are
yeah.
lions or lying? Or?
Well, here's what I'll say. One of the most convincing aspects to me, and it's just my feeling, is this book, Children of Roswell. It's just my opinion, but like all these guys at the end of their lives telling their families about seeing aliens and bodies and spaceships right as they're dying and telling their children and grandchildren this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, why would all these people do that? And that book it's not 1 or 2 people. It's a whole bunch of them. So that's very compelling to me. Walter Bosley seems to has his theory of what it was. That we had a skeptic here who said, no, it was just a mogul balloon. Then we've got Tom Carey and Kevin Randall and Don Schmidt all, convinced that it was an alien, crash.
Right.
So I'm on the fence. It's gray basket. That's one of those cases, however, that I have not been able to let go. There's a lot of cases where I say, I got to let go of that one. But the Roswell, I just can't. There's just too much information. Nicholas Smith says, Jon Stewart, get me a date with Linda Moulton Howe. That's kind of gross. But thank you. Thank you.
Now I'm in the love. Hey, my wife and I I almost crashed my rent-a-car in Las Vegas. My wife, Joanne, who, if anybody ever meets my wife, will you please just pat her on the back? This woman has been a trooper living with me for 5 years, dealing with this. We were crying. I'm like, Joanne, we need to create like a UFO community, like dating app where people.
There is one. There is one. There is one.
We were just making scenarios and laughing so hard I almost crashed the rent-a-cars. Oh, that's so.
Would you believe there is it?
Now.
There is a dating app for people that are UFO and alien people. There absolutely is. I swear to God, we showed it here on the show. There absolutely is one. You too can find a wackadoo. It's like a wackadoo hookup. You want to bang a wackadoo? And I bet you it's filled with like crystal hippie bitches that smell like patchouli, right? And don't take showers, right? And got dreadlocks and crystals and shit in their pockets, right? I bet you it's just chock filled with that stuff. But we want to thank all of the kind and generous benefactors that we had tonight. Give me one last praise to Cash for all of you. Thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. We got a new member during the show as well. Thank all of you for helping us to praise the Cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
So thanks to all of you. We really appreciate it. And I want to thank John for being a good sport. I only yelled at you once. I'm sorry I lost my
Did you hear me? I said, stop yelling at me. I'm sensitive.
Yeah. Well, people predicted that you would run out of here. I was impressed that you didn't. And like I said, I got more for you, John. So we could do a part 2 when I gather
Let's
the
do it.
rest. I got more for you, John.
Gather your evidence in the Stephen Cambion archives.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send you the list tonight. So
I
sign
can't
the
wait to
NDA.
see this. I'll
Okay,
sign
cool.
it. I'll sign it, send it right
What
back
is
to
the
you. But
list?
I'm allowed to
It
talk.
is-
As soon as the documentary comes out, I'm allowed to say anything I want. That's what the
Stephen,
NDA should.
what is the list? The list is the alleged retranscribed internal DIA memo about the alleged theft. That's what you're going to
Okay.
get.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Well, listen, I wish you the best of luck getting to the truth of this.
Thank you.
To be very honest, I think I got to the truth of this, and I'm ready to let this one go.
I respect that. Okay, let it go.
The fact that you can't let it go and you're going to follow this, you're going to ride this pony to the end of the, till it dies. I get it. I've been there on some of these cases. So
I want to see somebody recreate the alien. I'd like to see the evidence of the voice. I'd like to further document Victor's bio, just stuff like that. I think that's what people would want me to do. So
well, if you really know his name, any decent background check company could tell you if he where.
Do you not think I did? I do not think I tried that. I had an retired FBI guy in Chicago. He came to a firewall. I'm just telling you. So, it's going to take more work and a lot more money. And I'm not going to get it from the UFO listeners. I'm going to get it from Hollywood. So, because I don't want to be a grifter. Don't send me your money. Thank you. And thank you for having me on. I love you. I don't care what dude, you have a great show. You're a good guy. You're a good father.
No, I appreciate that.
And you're entertaining. And that's what it's important. I appreciate you having me on. And thank you to all your listeners and viewers. I love reading their chats in the live chat every night or every week. And it's entertaining. And thank you. I
want to say one other thing. I think tonight was a perfect example. Do you know how everything gets so toxic between UFO people? And tonight, I think, listen, maybe we made some progress, because if somebody like you and somebody like me can have a nice conversation, have a lot of fun for a couple hours, and just let's talk about this, let's debate it, instead of the viciousness and the vitriol and the anger, right? So tonight, instead of making another like, fuck that, I could have been like, fuck this guy. But instead, we talked things, and it was a fun conversation. I think maybe we can provide people with an example of how sometimes total believers and total skeptics can still come together. And
I agree, buddy. Thank you. That's a great statement.
We wish you the best of luck. I'm going to throw you out of here and wrap things up.
And the best to you and your family and your viewers. God bless all of you.
Congratulations! You survived your first. You survived your first run here. You survived. I'm impressed. Thank you, John. You have a good evening, and best of luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. There you have it, friends. This went much better than I thought, and not only that, but it was incredibly much more well attended than I would have thought, which shows there is still interest in this thing called the alien interview. And if John's willing, I'm gonna dig a little deeper, and we'll see what else we can come up with. I kind of feel like I've done all I can, though. But what I have to do is kind of walk away from this for a couple of days. I've been busily. By the way, last night I think I was up till like 5 o'clock in the morning, removing the voice disguiser and getting these files together and these links. I will, after the broadcast ends, I'll be putting a link in the description to those videos with the real voice of Victor, with the voice disguiser removed, and then you can listen to it without us talking over it. Let me know what you think. I think we nailed it. It's the same guy answering the questions that's asking them, which means this whole thing to me is a construct, an illusion. It's stagecraft. It's not real. But I appreciate Mr. Stewart's tenacity and his willingness to just keep going through the face of I think overwhelming evidence of hoaxery. We've got all those guys involved, which we showed. They're all kind of shady that were involved in this thing. One of them is a literal kitty toucher, like convicted. Not the best of people that were involved in the creation of this thing, right? Steve Nicholson says, interview me. I'll tell you what I know. Well, you can always email me. Complizier with a kind and generous. Oh, no, he's a member for 17 months. Thank you. Says, okay, Stephen, let's get serious about the Anjali Fish UFO footage. I wasn't aware that she's releasing UFO footage. You can send me that to me. I'd appreciate that. Yeah, tonight went really well. Thank you for being a member for so long. Compliziert, longtime show supporter. And thank you, Compliziert. We appreciate you. Thanks for appreciating us and helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say is, I think John's got to get better standards of evidence. But I told him that I think that he understands what I mean. And when I say standards of evidence, I mean like you have to have some standards, and I would not accept evidence from Stephen Greer as evidence, or evidence from Linda Moulton Howe as evidence. But I get it. I guess if I'm being fair to him, he's going through everything he can find and trying to put the puzzle together. But that in itself is dangerous. To me, I don't think there's a mystery here. I have shown, that I've done professional level work in puppets. And in my opinion, what is depicted in this video is a puppet. I could make one. In fact, I'm sure I can make a better one. One of the issues that I have with this whole thing is that the puppet never blinks. So I guess aliens don't have eyelids, and by the way, blinkers, they're called. That's one of the hardest things to build into a puppet. I think there's a reason that the alien doesn't blink, because blinkers are very intricate and difficult to build. In fact, it took me a long, long time to come up with a system for doing blinkers. It's very, very difficult. There's other things in the movement of this thing that to me, it just screams puppet. And the way that the scene is purposefully arranged to obscure the alien, we've got in one of the frames clear indication that the thing has a shirt on and there's no arm in the shirt. It's just a sleeve hanging down on the side. This is something that an amateur would do. Like a professional puppet maker would not put a shirt on this thing and just leave a sleeve hanging down for an arm. But that is something that a hoaxer would do. That plus the stagecraft used, where we show that the same person asking the questions is answering them as Victor, shows deception and manipulation, and that this thing was purposefully, put together. It's a construct. I don't believe this is real. And in my opinion, you shouldn't either. But hey, I got a lot of respect for this Mr. Stewart, who came here. I thought I'd have more to kind of hit him with, to be honest. And, honestly, 3 or 4 years ago, I would have, but I've been through 3 or 4 computers. So all the screenshots of some of the points I made in my previous debunk of this, like the walls are the same colors in Bob Dean's house as in the scene that they filmed the Victor character, like the tie thing. I have to concede the tie. I think in my previous debunk, we found a video of Robert Dean. By the way, let's have a scavenger hunt. Go find me a video of Robert Dean in a striped tie giving a UFO lecture, because that is the tie that we matched to the Victor character. But it's from 2 separate events. But to me, we blew it up real big. It was the same exact tie, same stripe pattern. Now we see we've got multiple examples of Bob Dean in very similar striped ties. He's in the same jacket. I think also Charlie Weiser had some great evidence in her write-up of this. And, I don't know that maybe we should just concede the point that it wasn't Bob Dean. To me, it doesn't matter who was sitting in that chair, because we know for a fact that the person speaking is not who they're pretending. It's not a person. It's the interviewer interviewing himself. And to me, it's kind of comical that anybody would not just stop there. Like, wait a minute, this interviewer is asking the questions and then answering as this Victor character? To me, that alone is proof it's a hoax. It's certainly proof of stagecraft being employed, manipulation, deception, deceptive editing. And like I said, I'm confident. I've looked over those audio files. There's clear evidence that the questions and the answers were copied and pasted. In other words, constructed. And that's what you would have to do if you were interviewing yourself. And So Charlie Weiser, same head shape, short nose, same facial hair, dyed beard, dyed hair or wig, likes big glasses. Yeah, and there's I think there's more. And here's a big point too. I think that it is one of the reasons that I think it's Bob Dean sitting there is because the Victor character wears gloves with a suit on, and that's done to hide his hands. And the reason I think they did that is because Mr. Robert Dean had very distinctive liver spots on his hands. Why else would they put gloves on a UFO whistleblower while they interview him? And they look like big honking like winter gloves. This is a deception, an effort to deceive. Here we have Dean in like the same exact coat, looks like to me, and he sure likes striped ties, right? There's various examples of him with very similar ties to the Victor character. Same shoulder proportion, same face shape, same bangs, sideburns, beard shape. Dean had long tied back hair in the mid-90s. Hair could be a wig, but facial hair is exactly the same. Both like big glasses and striped ties. Dean has liver spots on his hand. Victor curiously wears gloves in a suit. So, you know, when people ask me what I think happened here, is I think that this is an amalgam. I think that Victor is a ghost. I don't think this is a real person, though I'm open to be proven wrong. I think that this is a construct. It was constructed. We get one guy, possibly Bob Dean, to sit there and act out the script, and then we don't want people to know it was Bob Dean's voice. That would be too obvious. So we'll remove the voice, and then in post-editing or post-production, we'll dub in the voices. And then for whatever reason, the person asking the questions is the same person that's answering the questions as Victor. To me, this is proof of manipulation, deception, and deceit and trickery used to put this thing together. Take from this what you will, but I was a professional stage magician, and I know what it takes to create an illusion. And what we're seeing here is an illusion being created right before our very eyes. But like all good magicians, I'm excellent at sort of spotting, detecting deception. After all, deception is the tool of a magician. What we're seeing here is just a magic trick. Let's put this guy sit here. We'll put him in a shade. We'll dub the voice over it. We'll hide the hands because we don't want anybody to see those liver spots on Robert Dean's hands. To me, all evidence points to this being a hoax. And, you know, the other really convincing narrative to me is the other very convincing evidence to me is this. The people that were involved in this thing are all, in my opinion, they're all scumbags. We've got Jim Delatoso, who just declared himself an image and video analyst. He's got no real education or experience in video, right? He's the guy that's analyzing this. He's also the guy that declared Billy Meyer's photos and Billy Meyer's videos to be genuine. So, you know, he's a hoax promoter. And his education was completely and totally fake. He claimed to go to all these colleges. We did a full check into all those schools. His education is completely and totally fake. We've got Sean David Morton, who literally defrauded hundreds of people, has fake superpowers. He's a known hoax promoter. We've got Robert Dean, who profited from a story that we just showed you on tonight's broadcast is a completely and totally fake story about a document that never existed. His original claims are proven to be a hoax. Therefore, we can assess that Mr. Robert Dean spent decades, perhaps, taking money from the UFO community, telling a completely and totally fake story. Then my favorite, who was also he wasn't in the documentary, but he's directly involved in this story and the best friend and neighbor of Robert Dean for decades, Wendell Stevens, who's a convicted felon. He was convicted of child-related offenses. You know what I mean, the P word. YouTube doesn't like that word. He has multiple underage victims, and he's a known UFO hoax promoter. So if I'm really big on weighing the evidence. If we weigh all the evidence, to me, it's just clear that this is a hoax, or most likely a hoax. And one of the problems that I all have is Brandolini's law, I believe it is, which specifically states that the amount of energy required to dispel bullshit is orders of magnitude more than it takes to create it. That's the problem I run into with these hoaxes. It's like, how much work do I have to do to prove that definitively that this is a hoax? Or can we just take the balance of the evidence? Here's the evidence that this is real. Here's the evidence that it's fake, right? And to me, I think the evidence that this is fake, likely fake, or probably fake is really overwhelming. But God bless Jon Stewart. I wish him the best, the best of luck trying to prove me wrong. Not that he should have to, but, I just think at some point you say, I don't want to put any more time or energy into this story. I've put enough. And by the way, you can look up Sean David Morton on Wikipedia and see that he's a scumbag who has been caught and convicted of fraud. So we literally have convicted criminals, well, now convicted, involved in this. So, if we look at this, security and fraud charges from 1996 to 2010, Morton ran Delphi Associates newsletter, a print online publication which made economic, financial, and political predictions. In 2001, Morton predicted that the Dow Jones Industrial Average would rise to somewhere around 12,000. And here he's got federal criminal tax convictions. So he's been convicted of multiple fraud-related felonies. That's where we're at. One of the people involved directly in this alien interview is a convicted fraudster. And one of them is a convicted kitty toucher, right? And another one promoted a hoax that's completely and totally fake. And another guy claims to be an image analyst. He helped promote the Billy Meyer hoax. So I'm sorry. That's kind of where I check out on this. I don't think this story is real. But let me know what you think. We have Erie Moyer with a kind and generous $20. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And simply says Cambion Crew. Well, thank you. We appreciate it. Thanks for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash.
All right. So, my friends, I believe that surprisingly good show. This is one of those Evel Knievel shows. You never know if it's going to go well, make the jump, or crash and burn. I'm kind of impressed. It went a lot better than I thought it was going to. And I do apologize for raising my voice or yelling at the guy. I just get, I start losing my patience. And by the way, I think there was some kind of a delay issue because we were talking over each other, both of us, during this. It's like there was a delay issue. So before anybody leaves a nasty comment, just be aware that that was an issue during this. I don't know if, maybe there was some problem with the connection or something, but, I didn't mean to talk over him or whatever. So we've done our due diligence. I believe that I got one more show for you for the week. I will announce that on my Twitter. Please be sure to follow me on Twitter at Stephen Cambion. Also, we are now broadcasting live on Instagram every single show. So please follow me over there. It's at Truth Seeker Show on Instagram. Also, an announcement. We're going to finally have shorts. Everybody's been asking me for shorts. I didn't really want to do it. We're going to do it because people haven't asked for it enough. I don't know how to take what we do here as long format, 2 or 3 hour shows, and clip out 5-minute pieces, right? Maybe me yelling at Jon Stewart could be a clip. I'll do it. So we're going to have another show for you this week. Be sure to visit our website, truthseekershow.com. We appreciate every single one of you. You can go to Truth Seeker Show, one Truth Seeker, the word show, all one word.com, truthseekershow.com. Get all the latest audio and video episodes, whatever format you prefer. Both audio and video are there. And make sure that you do follow us on Instagram. It's at Truth Seeker Show. We're going to be broadcasting the live show there every night that we broadcast. We've had a great week, and I want to thank every one of you for joining us this week. Great attendance tonight, the best of the week. And I thought that this was such old, like nobody's going to care about this, but I'll do it because, I remember I saw this thing when it first came out. I think it was on Fox Television or something. It was on like some VHS or or I got it on VHS. I can't remember if I saw it on television or got it on VHS tape. But I remember watching this when it first came out. And to be very honest, I was very young, but and I was kind of an alien believer. Even when I first saw this, I thought it was fake, you know. Stephen, don't wear any shorts. Not a good look. No, short videos, short format videos. Moody Mongol is here, longtime show supporter, says, now waiting for the Alien Interrogation holiday special. Oh, it's coming. Call it Alien Christmas, right? And no, I don't wear shorts. My mother used to make fun of me. She would say, like, oh my God, you know it's hot outside when you're wearing shorts. I never wear shorts. I'm not a fan of shorts, right? Especially because at the cabin, you know, I do a lot of hiking through the woods. And sometimes there's not clear trails, so you'll get poison ivy on your legs if you wear shorts and other stuff. Charlie Weiser is here, and let me thank Charlie Weiser for the excellent information. I think he handled this pretty well, Charlie Weiser. I thought he was going to crack under the pressure. I got to say that I was completely and totally disappointed that he kind of dismisses that the same person asking the questions is also answering them. That might be some indication that this is bullshit, but, you know, God bless him. Yeah. Andrea says, do you remember that found footage movie that aired in cable in the 90s of the family tormented by aliens in their home? That terrified me as a kid. Yes, and it was also a complete and total hoax. That was not real, right? But yeah, Donovan's here and says, good show. Thank you. Yeah. Reused Thunderbolt puppet, says Tales of the Sonic Voyage. By the way, thank you for being a member. We appreciate you. And thank you for your comments. So I am going to bounce on out of here. Another one in the books. And yeah, we're going to be back probably. I'm not sure if we're doing a show tomorrow night or Saturday, but I've got one more show to do. So follow me on Twitter at Stephen Cambion. We always announce the shows before they air. It's the best way to know what's going on here. I want to thank each and every one of you kind and generous benefactors, you YouTube channel members, you Patreon supporters, you super chatters. Nemesis Bex is the MVP of super thanks, but thank you all. Super stickers, super chats. You Twitch subscribers, you people throwing money at us on gold on Pilled. We appreciate all of you. Thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. We thank Charlie Weiser, our chat room moderators. We thank our guest tonight, Jon Stewart, for giving us an interesting look into an old case. So that's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.